Chapter 2351. Intoxicated 2. Ranimo had been very anxious. He was worried about Yi Qing, and had hurried over to find Wu Fengling as a reinforcement. But when he returned, the bloodbath he had been expecting had not occurred. What they saw was Yi Qing standing on the platform refining an elixir. Meanwhile, Zhu Ning and the other medicine faculty teachers were watching him with intoxicated expressions. Ranimo. Wasn't there supposed to be a challenge going on? Could he have been hallucinating? Is this what you mean by life-threatening? Wu Fengling raised an eyebrow at his disciple. Ranimo. He was worried Wu Fengling wouldn't come with him, so he claimed that Yi Qing's life would be in danger if he didn't come. But now, who could tell him what was happening? Wu Fengling glanced at the despondent expression of his disciple before walking over to the platform. The students respectfully gave way when they saw Wu Fengling approaching. Meanwhile, the teachers on the platform appeared oblivious to Wu Fengling's arrival. Their eyes never left Yi Qing. Elder Zhu, you guys are... Wu Fengling tried to ask what was happening, but before he could complete his sentence, Zhu Ning shot him a cold, angry look. Wu Fengling. All right, he would have to ask later. Wu Fengling had come to prevent some major catastrophe, but he ended up watching Yi Qing refine elixirs together with a bunch of teachers. He was amused but also rather mystified. It seemed that Yi Qing also knew how to refine elixirs. Furthermore, Wu Fengling was rather amazed at the sight of Zhu Ning's focused expression. Zhu Ning had told him before that apart from his Grand Master disciple, he could not bear to watch anyone else refine elixirs. But now, Zhu Ning was watching very intently. When Wu Fengling tried to speak, it was like he had committed a heinous crime. If anything, Wu Fengling felt that the situation was rather incredulous. Time passed by the second that stretched into lengthy minutes. By the time Yi Qingtang finally extinguished the flame in her palm, a pale green elixir was left behind in her hand. At the same time, countless sighs could be heard. Yi Qingtang instinctively turned to see. Zhu Ning, and the rest of the medicine faculty teachers, had somehow come over to her side. Those folks looked as if they were hankering for more. Yi Qingtang was stunned. Teacher Zhu? Yi Qingtang asked. Weren't they competing? Why did her opponent suddenly come over to her side? Zhu Ning shook his head with a sigh. He closed his eyes, as if re-immersing himself in what he just witnessed. That lingering feeling. It was not enough. How many years had it been since? He was finally experiencing that feeling again. It was like when he just started learning alchemy, and was watching famous alchemists refining elixirs. I have lost. Zhu Ning opened his eyes, but there were no signs of anger. He looked at Yi Qing with a humbled expression. In front of everyone, he suddenly gave Yi Qing a deep bow. I have been obsessed with alchemy for many years, so much so that I appeared to have lost the stability of my mind. I seemed to have forgotten that there would always be someone better in this world. Everyone was dumbstruck by Zhu Ning's bow. The medicine faculty students were in a complete daze. Zhu Ning lost. Lost without even putting up a fight? Impossible. Yi Qingtang saw that Zhu Ning had already extinguished the fire in his tripod. Teacher Zhu, you didn't finish refining your elixir? Zhu Ning replied in an embarrassed tone. That's right. When I saw the way you refined, I knew that I had already lost. There's no point in me continuing the process. Chapter 2352. Intoxicated 3. At this stage, Zhu Ning was full of shame and regret. All these years he had been obsessed with alchemy, and researched it all his life, giving it his everything. That was why he detested people who didn't take elixir refinement seriously. Previously, Yi Qing's bold claims made Zhu Ning believe that he was just an ignorant layman, and this unfounded dislike of the youth only continued to rise. But now, Zhu Ning realized that Yi Qing's elixir refinement standard far surpassed his own. How could he have been so blind and foolish? He had completely humiliated himself because of his narrow-mindedness. Zhu Ning hated those who didn't take elixir refinement seriously, but was extremely respectful toward those with exceptional skill. So now, his tone toward Yi Qing had subconsciously become more respectful. I have lost. But it is my honor to have witnessed Teacher Yi's exquisite elixir refinement skills. Teacher Yi, don't worry. I will adhere to the terms of our bet. From now on, I will seal off my tripod and never refine elixirs again. Zhu Ning stated. A huge commotion erupted at Zhu Ning's words. Song Yanhan's face paled. He never imagined that his master would lose. And to Yi Qing as well. If Zhu Ning sealed off his tripod, what would happen to him? Master, please reconsider. Song Yanhan hurriedly cried out. Zhu Ning waved him off. I have committed wrong after wrong. But today I managed to witness a true expert at work. It is already a blessing for me. He had doubted Yi Qing and wanted to know who taught Yin Chen the palm flame. Now, Zhu Ning knew that it was indeed Yi Qing who imparted that skill to Yin Chen, and his initial doubts made him feel extremely ashamed. Yi Qingtang looked at Zhu Ning. She felt that he was too old-fashioned. Nevertheless, she also felt that this elder did have some backbone. It is truly admirable that Teacher Zhu is keeping his word, Yi Qingtang said. But Teacher Zhu's teaching stint at the Netherworld Academy is an agreement between him and President Wu Fengling. Since the agreement between Teacher Zhu and the President has yet to end, we must uphold that agreement first, Yi Qingtang continued. Zhu Ning was taken aback by Yi Qing's words, recalling how he had been so overbearing toward her, and how gracious the latter was being now. He felt even more ashamed. Teacher Yi, I was in the wrong, so of course. Zhu Ning couldn't bear to give up elixir refinement, but he was unwilling to go back on his word. Before Zhu Ning could complete his sentence, Wu Fengling walked up the platform. Elder Zhu, Teacher Yi is right. You lost to me that year, and said that as long as I am in the Netherworld Academy, you will be a teacher at the medicine faculty. What? Are you trying to go back on your word now? Wu Fengling smiled. Zhu Ning felt a headache coming on. President. Yi Qingtang saw Wu Fengling and Ran Mo standing behind him, and she immediately knew why he had come. Wu Fengling nodded. Yi Qing, I didn't expect you to be skillful in elixir refinement as well. You are truly full of surprises. But, you have really raised a ruckus today. I heard that you challenged Zhu Ning and Dinua? Yi Qing nodded. Wu Fengling gave a small smile. He had already heard about the entire affair from Ran Mo. I will handle this matter. Since this match is done, let's forget about your challenge to Dinua. Yi Qing gave a strange look at Wu Fengling's words. I am afraid that's not possible. Wu Fengling was startled. This punk. Didn't he realize he was trying to help him? He would be in trouble if he really had to fight Dinua. Why? Wu Fengling asked sternly. Now Yi Qing looked exasperated. Because the match between Dinua and I has already ended. Chapter 2353. Competition ended. Your match with Dinua is over? But Wu Fengling was astonished. He looked at the completely unharmed Yi Qing. Could Dinua have had a change of heart? He had gone easy on him. Ran Mo blinked in confusion. Meanwhile, Hang Wenwei, Gong Jinyun, and Xiaonan dragged him off to the side. What happened? The match between Teacher Yi and Teacher Dinua is over? Ran Mo was befuddled, and he stared at the other three in confusion. Ran Mo suddenly realized that the trio was beaming, as if they had just discovered a great treasure. Little Mo, you didn't see it just now. A real pity. The match between Teacher Yi and Teacher Dinua was mind-blowing. Hang Wenwei draped his arm around Ran Mo's shoulder, smiling like a cheeky rogue. Little Mo? Ran Mo was speechless, but he remained on track. Has the match between Teacher Yi and Teacher Dinua really ended? Where is Teacher Dinua then? Hang Wenwei indicated the exit with his chin. He was carried out. Ran Mo. Dinua was carried out? Did he hear correctly? Hang Wenwei watched Ran Mo's eyes grow wide. He grinned. Guess what the true cultivation level of our Teacher Yi is? Ran Mo asked. Teacher Yi has been concealing his true powers. Hang Wenwei nodded. Ran Mo looked at the completely unharmed Yi Qing, and then at Hang Wenwei and the other two, who were all grinning widely. He then linked it with the fact that Dinua was carried away. He made a bold guess. Could he be at the Divine Lord 3rd Heaven stage? Dinua was a Divine Lord 2nd Heaven stage practitioner. If Teacher Yi could defeat Dinua, his level must definitely be higher. Hang Wenwei shook his head. Little Mo, you are still too young. Our Teacher Yi is a true blue Divine Lord 5th Heaven level. Ran Mo. Hang Wenwei was speaking softly, but Wu Fengling was able to hear him. When Wu Fengling heard the words, Divine Lord 5th Heaven level, he was shocked and immediately turned to look at Yi Qing in amazement. Yi Qing, you are a Divine Lord 5th Heaven stage practitioner? Yi Qing nodded. Wu Fengling took a deep breath as he looked at Yi Qing with a complicated light in his eyes. Wu Fengling had already been overjoyed that Yi Qing had won Zhu Ning in elixir refinement. He didn't expect there would be another major surprise waiting for him. A Divine Lord 5th Heaven level, and with alchemy skills above that of a master-level alchemist. This was really a precious treasure that when Qi had brought him, the situation had far exceeded Wu Fengling's expectations. It was like every time he saw Yi Qing, he would bring him some great surprise. Thinking of how the Netherworld Academy had been like the past few years, Wu Fengling gazed at Yi Qing in excitement. Perhaps he had been sent by the heavens to help the Netherworld Academy. Yi Qing, you are full of endless surprises. Wu Fengling gave a happy chuckle. Yi Qing's situation was now different from what he initially understood. He would have to make some adjustments to his plans now. Given Yi Qing's prowess in martial arts and alchemy was out of this world, his reputation would spread like wildfire across the Netherworld Academy. Zhu Ning had been very insistent about sealing off his tripod, but after being persuaded by both Yi Qing and Wu Fengling, he decided to keep to the agreement between him and Wu Fengling first. The day that Wu Fengling left, he would keep his promise to Yi Qing. Today, all 6 of Yi Qing's students qualified for the Inter-Academy competition. Lei Yin said. Who said that he would eat the whole platform? Hurry up, don't waste time. The guy who made that claim had already shrunk into a corner, desperately wishing that he could disappear. Chapter 2354. Stealing Their Teacher. 1. Wu Fengling spoke with Yi Qing for a while longer before having the crowd disperse. There was still some time before the Inter-Academy competition, so Wu Fengling hoped that Yi Qing could help Hang Wenwei and the rest improve for the competition. After today, every time Hang Wenwei and his group gazed at Yi Qing, it was with eyes filled with adoration and worship. They were eager to see how Yi Qing would teach them, but it was clear that someone else was even more eager than Hang Wenwei and his group. The next morning, Lei Yan, Hang Wenwei, and the others arrived at the agreed location very early to wait for Yi Qing to arrive. Just as Yi Qing stepped into the room, and before Hang Wenwei and the others could exhibit their bootlicking skills, a figure dashed over. Teacher Yi. Zhu Ning stood outside the door, looking humbly at Yi Qing. Teacher Zhu. Yi Qingtang was surprised by Zhu Ning's appearance. I obtained a recipe some time ago, and studied it for a long time, but still cannot figure it out. There are a few ingredients listed which I feel have to be reconsidered, so I hope to invite Teacher Yi to analyze it with me. Zhu Ning looked at Yi Qing without the slightest hint of arrogance. He was truly sincere about asking for Yi Qing's guidance. Yi Qingtang was dumbstruck. Hang Wenwei and the others were likewise stupefied. They never expected Zhu Ning to appear like this. Their faces started to twitch. Was Teacher Zhu kidding them? Teacher Yi didn't belong to the medicine faculty. How dare he so boldly try to steal their teacher away like this? Was it really appropriate? After personally witnessing Yi Qing's elixir refinement skills, Zhu Ning was utterly convinced of his abilities. Also, he heard another teacher say last night that Yin Chen's elixir refinement standard had greatly improved since several months ago, and it was all thanks to Yi Qing. That teacher was the same one who had previously tried to convince Yi Qing to join the medicine faculty as a warden, but he had rejected him. The teacher didn't take the rejection to heart. In addition, he had been away from the academy the past few months, and so didn't get the chance to tell anyone of this matter. That was why things had escalated in this manner. In the end, that teacher returned and found out that Yi Qing's elixir refinement level was even more formidable. He was stunned. This further solidified Zhu Ning's respect for Yi Qing. As a result, he had come here first thing in the morning with his elixir recipe to seek out Yi Qing. Teacher Zhu, I have some things to do. Yi Qingtang was in a dilemma. If it was some other person, she could have just kicked him out. But Zhu Ning, as stubborn as he was, his adoration for alchemy was sincere, and his tone had been so humble. There was a saying that one could not bear to slap a smiling face. Yi Qingtang felt rather embarrassed rejecting him. Zhu Ning said, "Teacher Yi, don't worry. I just need half a day of your time. Moreover, the pursuit of martial arts is endless, and there's not much time left for the inter-academy competition. On the other hand, Teacher Yi's alchemy skills are rare and valuable. I wonder if Teacher Yi is interested in joining the medicine faculty." In a matter of seconds, Zhu Ning made his offer. Lei Yan and the others had been listening patiently, but they suddenly realized what Zhu Ning was asking. What the hell? Zhu Ning wanted to steal their boss over to the medicine faculty. What was going on in this world? First it was Han Wenwei and those punks, and now even Zhu Ning wanted a share. Chapter 2355. Stealing their teacher, too. The thought made Lei Yan and others feel extremely aggrieved. More than ever, they pined for the days when Yi Qing was a nobody. At least then, their boss would only belong to them. Unlike now. Now there were love rivals popping up everything, trying to steal their boss. Yi Qingtang didn't know whether to laugh or to cry at Zhu Ning's offer. Although she rejected him, he was resolute. It was clear that this person's aspirations in elixir refinement was indomitable. Exasperated, Yi Qingtang had no choice but to agree and spend half a day with Zhu Ning first. She could deal with the rest later. Before Yi Qingtang left, she had Jing Zhe and the others take charge of Han Wenwei and his group for the time being, to instruct them on the foundational methods she had taught them in the past. They could start training using those methods first. Han Wenwei, Xiao Nan and Gong Jinyan, Lei Yan and the others were shaking with mirth. Only Ran Mo alone was full of spirit. After Yi Qing left, he scurried over to Qin Feng's side. "Qin Feng, teach me a couple of moves?" Ran Mo smiled, revealing his eye teeth. Qin Feng. No, he didn't want to. Like that, Yi Qing had been kidnapped by Zhu Ning to the medicine faculty to research on some elixirs. It had been agreed that it would take just half a day, but when it came to elixirs, Zhu Ning was like an obsessed maniac. By mid-afternoon, he still refused to let Yi Qing leave. Song Yinhan looked on as his own master humbly discussed elixir refinement with Yi Qing. The expression on his face was amusing. Noticing the approach of Yin Chen and the others, Song Yinhan's face darkened even further. What else could he do? His own master was not as good as their teacher. In the end, he could only slink away in embarrassment. When night fell, Yin Chen and the others finally managed to snatch Yi Qing back from Zhu Ning's clutches, after putting up a major fuss. Yi Qing took this opportunity to analyze the situation of Han Wenwei and his team. They all had very solid foundations and pretty good innate talents. It was no coincidence at all that they managed to reach their current cultivation stage. According to their individual situations, Yi Qing adjusted the techniques and offered them a set of tailor-made methods to have them practice over this period of time. Han Wenwei and the others practiced diligently, as if they had just received a precious gift. But Zhu Ning would come over every 2 or 3 days to try and steal their teacher again. It was a real headache. Due to Zhu Ning's actions, Han Wenwei, Lei Yan, and the whole group bonded together for the first time. To defend against external enemies, one must first have domestic harmony. Unite together to defend against Zhu Ning. But no matter how hard they tried, they failed to stop Zhu Ning's attempts. Exasperated, they sought out Ran Mo. "Little Mo, go and find your master. Tell him that if this goes on, Teacher Yi will not have time to teach us." Han Wenwei was feeling very aggrieved. He never expected that he would one day end up fighting over a teacher with a medicine faculty teacher. Ran Mo said, "My master has always respected Teacher Zhu and this." Lei Yan patted Ran Mo on the shoulder. "Let me teach you. Go and see your master, and throw yourself at his feet. Sob as hard as you can, until tears and snot cover your face. If he refuses to help, just cry yourself to death by his feet." Ran Mo stared at Lei Yan with his dark, round eyes, as if he had just seen a ghost. "Don't worry, this method is very effective. I use it very often." Lei Yan patted his chest with gusto. Everyone immediately turned to stare at Lei Yan, the looks on their faces. Incredulous. "What are you looking at?" "I do this every time my father tries to force me to train." Lei Yan remained nonchalant. The corners of the lips of Nangong Lai and the rest twitched. No wonder this kid's earlier cultivation level was so lousy. Could he be any more shameless? Chapter 2356. Stealing their teacher 3. Lei Yan's method was indeed rather shameless. The others were secretly scornful but outwardly. Little Momo, I think this method might work. You should go ahead and try it. Hang Wenwei looked very righteous. Oh yes, crying alone is not enough. You need to howl. Howl until your master's heart softens. Those brats behaved like armchair experts, throwing the deplorable task onto Ran Mo's lap. Like this, the pitiful Ran Mo was forced into his mission. The #1 student in the Netherworld Academy threw himself at his master's feet and cried the entire night. Wu Fengling nearly went deaf from the noise. He finally agreed to go speak to Zhu Ning. The personal intervention of Wu Fengling seemed to work. Zhu Ning stopped his antics, and Yi Qing could finally teach her brats in peace. Having been delayed for several days, Ran Mo and his group gradually started to absorb Yi Qing's teachings. Meanwhile, Lei Yan and his gang recalled something very crucial. I say, boss, didn't you make that bet with Di Nua earlier? If you win, isn't Di Nua supposed to crawl out of the Netherworld Academy? Lei Yan always got angry all over again when he recalled how overbearing Di Nua was. Now their boss had proved herself in every way. It was time for Di Nua to carry out the terms of the bet. That's right. Boss, make Di Nua carry out the terms of the bet. Nangong Lai piped up. If not for Di Nua, so many unpleasant things would not have happened. Di Nua thought that he would definitely win, and had been so eager to publicly announce the bet between him and Yi Qing. But since that day after Yi Qing thrashed him, and he had to be carried away, there had been no news of Di Nua. I think that Di Nua is still bedridden. Lei Yan rubbed his chin. Are you all very bored? Yi Qing shot them a mild look. Lei Yan and the others shuddered under Yi Qing's gaze as he lifted his chin and said, Yesterday's technique. Practice it another 10 times. The faces of Lei Yan and the others darkened as they stared at Yi Qing pitifully. They were just speaking up for boss. Why was he so heartless? As much as they grumbled, they had no choice but to carry out all extra 10 rounds of practice. As for the bet between her and Di Nua, Yi Qingtang had not taken it to heart at all. For someone as proud as Di Nua, being publicly defeated by Yi Qingtang was enough to shatter all his dignity. Yi Qingtang had no time to bother about him anymore, as she could now go for the inter-academy competition. So she had already decided to spend as much time as she could with her brats until the end of the competition, after which she would leave this mainland and head off to the Dragon Emperor clan to find her mother. Instead of wasting her time on inconsequential people, she would rather concentrate on teaching her brats. Yi Qingtang did not take the matter with Di Nua to heart at all. But it was true that Di Nua remained out of sight during this period. Meanwhile, Yi Qing's reputation in the Netherworld Academy was flourishing. Nearly all the students knew of this formidable teacher, who knew both martial arts and alchemy. However, Yi Qing was only teaching Lei Yan, Ran Mo, and the selected few. This was also Wu Fengling's intention. After all, the inter-academy competition depended on those top students. Chapter 2357. Get Lost 1. During this period, the powers of Ran Mo and his group did improve. But with their already high cultivation stage, it was nearly impossible for them to have a sudden breakthrough over such a short period of time. Even so, they could clearly feel their battle prowess surge by leaps and bounds under Yi Qing's guidance. Hang Wenwei was the only one who had yet to ascend to the Divine Lord stage, and he could already feel signs of a breakthrough. This made him so happy that he could barely sleep for several nights. During the day, he trained exceptionally hard, hoping to reach the Divine Lord stage before the inter-academy competition. Perhaps it was because they were motivated by Hang Wenwei, so Lei Yan and the others also increased their efforts. The moment daylight broke, the teenagers would charge toward the training arena like a pack of wild dogs who had just been uncaged. Many other students were astonished by their crazed diligence. One day, as they were practicing, a group of other students suddenly walked past them. At first Lei Yan and the rest didn't pay much attention. But the words Yi Qing drifted into their ears, and they instantly paused. Senior Sister Meng, is what you are saying true? Is Yi Qing really that vicious? Meng Yao crossed her arms over her chest and shot Lei Yan and his gang a cold glance. A smirk was on her lips as she admonished. Of course it's true. To this day, my master has yet to recover. It's obvious how vicious Yi Qing was. After being taught a lesson by Mu Ziying, Meng Yao had spent more than 2 weeks bedridden before finally recovering. But her attitude toward Mu Ziying and her group did not change at all. It was still full of enmity. Meng Yao, what did you just say? Nangong Lai's face darkened as he glared at her. Meng Yao looked provocatively at Nangong Lai. What did I say? I was just speaking the truth. What? Are you going to attack me now? I think that you're just itching for a beating. Nangong Lai narrowed his eyes. He did not care that Meng Yao was a female. Even a deity could not insult their boss. It is indeed true that students take after their teachers. Your teacher is so cunning. It's only natural that you kids don't adhere to the school rules. Meng Yao smirked. Nangong Lai's face grew even grimmer. He wanted to step forward, but was held back by Qin Feng. Qin Feng gave Meng Yao a chilly look. If you dare insult our boss again, I will ensure that you can never speak again in this lifetime. Qin Feng was tall and strapping, his features cold and foreboding. At his malevolent tone and harsh eyes, Meng Yao couldn't help taking a step back. Qin Feng, I know you are formidable, but as powerful as you are, do you think you can shut everyone up if they don't agree with you? Meng Yao put on a false show of bravado. Yi Qing is so great. He concealed his true powers and came to the Netherworld Academy. He could have revealed his powers from the start, but he purposely chose to hide them. I know that he has been at odds with my master right from the start. He purposely incited my master to make that bet with him. Thereafter, he cunningly challenged my master in public, and then executed a lethal move during their fight. He was completely merciless to someone who is also a teacher of the Netherworld Academy. Everything that has happened, Yi Qing planned it all. Meng Yao glared at Qin Feng and his group with eyes filled with venom and hatred. Whenever she thought of how her family clan had invested so much to let her powers increase before the Inter-Academy competition, it infuriated her. If it wasn't for Yi Qing, she would finally have the chance to make a name for herself there. Chapter 2358. Get lost too. But she had been greatly weakened by her match with Mu Ziying. Although she could walk now, it would still be some time before she would fully recover. In her current state, there was no way she could compete in the Inter-Academy competition. So of course she hated them. Dinua was her teacher. If he was well, he might be able to help her recuperate faster. But he had been injured by Yi Qing and couldn't even help himself. Meng Yao's last hope was extinguished just like that. At this point, Meng Yao was just aching to tear Yi Qing apart. Meng Yao's voice attracted several people. The training arena was crowded in the first place, and several bystanders gathered around them. Most of them had heard of the bet between Dinua and Yi Qing, but no one knew the reason behind that bet. Thereafter, there was Dinua's match against Yi Qing during the medicine faculty's selection trials. This made those students even more confused over the reason behind everything. Now, Meng Yao had spoken out and pushed all the blame onto Yi Qing, making it sound like Yi Qing had schemed against Dinua and purposely injured him badly, just because she was at odds with him. Meng Yao's words stunned Lei Yan and his group. They had met shameless people, but they had never met someone that shameless. Their boss was the instigator. If Dinua had not been so overbearing, would their boss be so free as to challenge him? It was clearly Dinua who had forced Yi Qing to a match to prove himself. Now Meng Yao dared to turn around and accuse the victim? Your words are truly hilarious. Our boss is big-hearted and benevolent. He doesn't even intend to pursue the matter. Have you and your master not had enough yet? Who was the one who tried to force our boss out of the Netherworld Academy? Who was the one who claimed that our boss had someone outside of the academy teach us? It's all your teacher's doing. What? Now that you have lost, you refuse to concede? If your teacher has the guts, he should crawl out of the Netherworld Academy in accordance with the bet. Lei Yin was so angry that he felt like laughing. He had never met someone so thick-skinned. Meng Yao replied, "Scoundrel. You are just a student. How dare you be so rude to a teacher? What bet? It's all just talk, there's no proof. You were so rude to our boss too. What do you say to that?" Lei Yin retorted, "Shut up." A low voice rang out. The crowd turned toward the voice and saw a pale-faced Di Nua. Accompanied by several teenagers, he was walking into the training arena. Meng Yao was taken aback by the sight of Di Nua. "Master, why have you come out?" Di Nua looked extremely unwell, and his aura was very weak. He was a teacher from the martial arts faculty, and was a familiar sight to all the students in the training arena. Seeing how the usually robust and imperious Di Nua now looked so frail, many of the teenagers, who didn't know the truth, unwittingly started to believe in Meng Yao's words. To be fair, it was rather common for the teachers to have occasional sparring matches. But no one had ever witnessed a teacher dealing such a heavy blow to another. Those teenagers did not know Yi Qing well, only hearing rumors about him. Now they started to feel that it was better to stay away from this vicious teacher. "Meng Yao, the world has only ever respected winners. There's nothing we can do about that. You have yet to fully recover. No need to go around talking about this," Di Nua said impassively. Meng Yao twisted her lips. Chapter 2359. Get Lost 3. Seeing that Di Nua wasn't really saying anything, Lei Yin and the others also remained silent. Di Nua looked at Lei Yin and his gang. "Yi Qing wants me to fulfill the bet." Lei Yin gaped, suddenly at a loss for words. Yi Qing had completely disregarded the bet. And so, Lei Yin and the rest also didn't take it to heart. Just now, it was only because of Meng Yao's provocation that he had blurted those words out. It was par for course to expect a person to fulfill his promise. But to say this in front of everything, it would just make them appear overbearing. Lei Yin felt rather distressed. Di Nua was the one who wished to go back on his word. But now, he was making it look like they were bullying him. With arms crossed behind his back, Di Nua stared at Lei Yin and the others with a cold expression. "Yi Qing was the one who initiated this bet. If he wants me to fulfill it, he must come and ask me himself." Lei Yin and the others looked very conflicted. They wanted to do so, but the surrounding crowd was already staring at them like they were ruthless tyrants. "I say enough is enough, right? This bet has always been just all talk and no proof." Moreover, Yi Qing had clearly concealed his true powers before purposely dealing such a grievous blow to teacher Di Nua. Now he wants to rub salt into his wound? That's too much. He is so formidable now, high cultivation level and an expert at alchemy, let alone he is also in the president's good books. Of course he would disregard us commoners. Many students sounded rather envious. They also hoped to have a powerful teacher, but it was clear that Yi Qing didn't intend to teach students other than Lei Yin and his group. In a matter of moments, Lei Yin and the rest were confused by the malicious comments. But Di Nua was using his status as a teacher to suppress them. Even if they wished to argue, it would make them look unreasonable and heartless. No matter what they said, they would be at fault. Meng Yao was thrilled at the sight of the distressed expressions on Lei Yin and his group. Just as the crowd was discussing and blaming Lei Yin and his gang, a cold voice rang out. "So I will tell you now, Teacher Di Nua, are you going to carry it out?" Lei Yin and the others immediately turned at the voice. As expected, it was Yi Qing. "Boss!" Lei Yin and his group lit up with joy, and they burst toward Yi Qing. In contrast, when he saw Yi Qing, a frown appeared on Di Nua's face. Yi Qingtang was just passing by the training arena and wanted to see if her brats were sneaking a break, only to end up witnessing this scene. She had no interest in seeking out Di Nua to settle their score. But now, he was putting up an act. Yi Qing shot Lei Yin and the group a keep calm expression before turning toward Di Nua. Teacher Di Nua's word have always been his bond. So please crawl out of the Netherworld Academy in accordance with the terms of our bet. He wanted to bully her brats? He had to have the ability first. Di Nua's face darkened at Yi Qing's words. Whispers spread across the crowd. Wasn't Yi Qing being too overbearing? It was better to live and let live. Yi Qing, Don't push things too far. Meng Yao stepped out angrily. Yi Qingtang's face turned cold as she glanced at Meng Yao. Yes, I want to push things that far today. What can you do? Yi Qing finally understood something. Originally, she had wanted to be merciful to Di Nua, so as to ensure a smooth future for Lei Yan and the rest in the Netherworld Academy after she left. But as long as Di Nua was around, he would find all sorts of ways to make things difficult for her students after she was no longer around. Chapter 2360. Get Lost 4. Rather than letting him harm her little brats, it was better that she get rid of this danger as soon as possible. You have no proof. Who would know the real details of your bet that day? Meng Yao insisted. Oh, so they were going to play that game, were they? Completely ignoring Meng Yao, Yi Qingtang took out the contract from her space ring and showed it to everyone. Here is the proof. I believe that I am not the only one who has a copy of this. Teacher Di Nua has one too, correct? Di Nua had been worried that Yi Qing would go back on his word, and so purposely wrote out this contract in front of Wen Qi. He never imagined that he would be the one being tormented by this contract. Di Nua looked extremely grim. He was in a tight spot now. If he didn't carry out the terms of the bet, his reputation would be dragged through the mud. If he complied, he would be utterly humiliated. Or does Teacher Di Nua need my help to carry out his end of the bargain? Yi Qingtang narrowed her eyes. Di Nua's face turned pale. Having personally experienced Yi Qing's power, he was well aware that if Yi Qing were to make a move, he would be utterly defenseless. Yi Qing, you are indeed vicious. Di Nua took a deep breath. He flung his sleeves angrily and left without turning his head. He could not carry it out. How could he? He would become the laughingstock of everyone. Meng Yao saw Di Nua leave and hurriedly followed after him. The crowd was of two minds at what just happened. Yi Qingtang couldn't care less. She led Lei Yan and the rest away from the practice arena. That night, Di Nua handed Wu Fengling his resignation and left the Netherworld Academy. Meng Yao, who had relied on Di Nua all this while, never expected Di Nua to leave just like that. After Di Nua left, Wu Fengling called Yi Qing over to his office. Di Nua has gone. Wu Fengling looked at Yi Qing. Yi Qingtang had already predicted this. With Di Nua's character, he would never crawl out of the Netherworld Academy in accordance with the bet. But his reputation had already been besmeared, and he had no choice but to leave. Are you going to rebuke me for being too ruthless? Yi Qing asked. Wu Fengling shook his head. I have heard about the entire matter from Wen Qi. You were not at fault. Yi Qingtang was somewhat surprised. She thought that Wu Fengling would admonish her. I called you here to discuss something with you. Wu Fengling explained. President, please go ahead. Wu Fengling continued. It will be the Inter-Academy competition soon. And the venue will not be on our mainland. It will be a long journey, and we need to leave in advance. We will be heading for the venue of the Inter-Academy competition in 3 days. So you should start to make the necessary preparations. Yi Qingtang subconsciously heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, she felt very uneasy staying on this mainland. Who knew what was happening with the Temple of Paragon? It was better for her to go as far as possible. Apart from that, this year's Inter-Academy competition will be a bit different. I am not sure of the details for now. But Yi Qing, I hope that you can be the lead teacher for this competition. Wu Fengling continued. Lead teacher? Yi Qingtang was puzzled. Wu Fengling explained. For every Inter-Academy competition, each student would have their own teacher to mentor them throughout the entire competition. Most of the matches are one-on-one, so there is no major issue there. But one of the categories is a team competition, which will require a teacher to participate. Although a teacher had to participate in the team competition, there were certain rules and limitations that applied. Only normal teachers were allowed to participate. Presidents, vice presidents and faculty heads were not allowed. Chapter 2361. Universe City 1. What do I need to do? Yi Qingtang asked. Wu Fengling replied. In the past competitions, the lead teacher just needed to keep watch on the competition arena surroundings, just in case. But there seem to be some changes this year. You will only know of the details when you arrive. Yi Qingtang nodded. She did not find anything strange about this. Anyway, she would definitely be guiding her own brats. She would feel uneasy if someone else performed the task. Besides, Wu Fengling must have taken all things into consideration before deciding to give such an important task to Yi Qing. Yi Qing had a pretty high cultivation level and was highly skilled in alchemy. It was no surprise that he was the most suitable candidate, since Wu Fengling assigned Yi Qing to guide Lei Yan and the others as they already knew each other well. It was the best choice. After Wu Fengling gave his instructions, he let Yi Qing go back first. As Yi Qingtang returned, she thought of the Evil Soul Forest. With her current cultivation stage, it would take at most a day to travel to and fro the Evil Soul Forest. But Yi Qingtang also heard that there has been an increasing number of factions entering the forest. Many factions from the second domain were making their move. She heard that during this period of time, a few of the factions had obtained quite a number of treasures from the Fiend Celestial's tomb. The news was rather strange. Yi Qingtang was well aware of how dangerous the Fiend Celestial's tomb was. Just that giant snake guarding the treasure trove was enough to kill off all the factions. Even if someone was lucky enough to carry off 1 or 2 treasures from the tomb, it was a very low probability. But according to the news, the number of instances of treasures being brought out had far surpassed the reasonably expected amount. Yi Qingtang felt that something was not quite right. But as she had yet to go and investigate, she was not sure what was going on. Several days passed in the blink of an eye. The Netherworld Academy team, that was to participate in the Inter-Academy competition, set off. Wu Fengling remained in the Netherworld Academy to hold down the fort, and the team was led by Vice President Wen Qi. Having trained so hard for so long, the teenagers finally embarked on their journey. The Heaven Mainland was located in the ocean of the second domain. It was a wide expanse of land, and the most vibrant martial arts place in the second domain. On a regular basis, the elite academies from the various mainlands would lead their top students to this mainland to compete in the Inter-Academy competition, which was held in Universe City on Heaven Mainland. It was rumored that many years ago, the mainland's biggest temple used to be located where Universe City was now. The temple worshipped a powerful god, but after the god disappeared, the temple was destroyed in the battle and completely flattened. Many years later, people started to build a new city on that piece of land. This city was usually sealed off, and no one was allowed to enter or leave. It was only open during the Inter-Academy competition. Like this, the originally empty city would become exceptionally lively during this period. After arriving at Universe City, Lei Yan observed his surroundings with curiosity, as his eyes surveyed the bustling shops lining the streets. I thought apart from those who are here for the competition, there would be no one else. I didn't expect it to be so vibrant and filled with so many shops. Nangong Lai had clearly done his research. Of course, the students sent here by the various academies are all the cream of the crop amongst the elite. Most of them are from wealthy family clans who had invested much effort to groom them, all with vast resources at their fingertips. As long as there are rich people around, you don't need to worry about there being nothing to buy. Chapter 2362. Universe City 2. Wow! Look at that. Are they selling spirit animals? I have always wanted one. I must go and take a look later. Lei Yan was a young master of a family clan. Even so, his eyes lit up as he chatted with Nangong Lai, his movements becoming clumsy with excitement at the thought of going on a shopping spree. Yi Qingtang couldn't help feeling exasperated at those 2 lively brats. The others were quieter. Only those 2 chatted nonstop. Yi Qing, we will be heading to one of the residence halls later. That's the assembly point for the various academies. Apart from us, there will be people from the other schools. Wen Qi glanced at the teenagers behind him before speaking to Yi Qing. The Netherworld Academy had sent quite a big team this time. This was also Yi Qing's first time here, and it was only natural for Wen Qi to offer more advice. Yi Qingtang nodded. Universe City had 4 residence halls, each located on the 4 corners of the city. The Netherworld Academy had been assigned to the North Hall. When they arrived, several teenagers from the other academies were already coming in and out of the place. Yi Qingtang instructed Lei Yan and the others to stay close to her. The brats followed behind her, their eyes filled with curiosity. Males and females were separated in the building. Mu Ziying and the other teenage girls from the Netherworld Academy were sent to another section. Yi Qingtang led the remaining 9 bumbling boys to another part of the building. Lei Yan and Nangong Lai were still whispering to each other. At some point in time, Gong Jinyan and Hang Wenwei had also been dragged into their conversation, and the 4 of them huddled together, talking quietly. Damn, are those guys from the Sky Martial Academy? Lei Yan acted like he had just discovered a new mainland. He gazed at a team of white-clad teenagers with shining eyes. Those teenagers were only in their late teens. Making their way through the crowd of students, their white outfits made them look exceptionally striking. Where? Nangong Lai also became very excited, sticking his head up to look. Is that Xiao Han? Lei Yan's eyes landed on the male leading the group. The mention of the name Xiao Han made Yi Qingtang pause. She looked up to see the handsome face of the boy, and saw that his eyes were cold, and he exuded an aloof aura. Yi Qingtang knew the name Xiao Han, as she had heard of him in her previous life, when she came to the second domain. But that would be many years later. By then, Xiao Han would become the top practitioner in the second domain, and was very famous. In her previous life, Jing Zhe, whose bloodline remained sealed, would clash with Xiao Han many years later. The 2 of them once battled for 3 days and 3 nights. In the end, Jing Zhe would flee in defeat. Yi Qingtang looked in turn at Xiao Han, then at Jing Zhe. The Jing Zhe of now had awakened his bloodline under Yi Qingtang's guidance. The tragedy that happened in her previous life would not occur. How high do you think Xiao Han's cultivation level is now? I heard that he already reached the Divine Lord stage when he was just 12 years old. He's a real freak. He should be about 18 or 19 now, right? TSK. How high must his cultivation level be now? Lei Yan gaped at Xiao Han. He knew of Xiao Han because his father always talked about that genius teenager to torment him. A Divine Lord stage at 12 years old. The expressions of Qin Feng and the others shifted slightly at Lei Yan's words. Everyone subconsciously turned their attention to Ran Mo, also a genius teenager. Chapter 2363, Universe City 3. Ran Mo blinked before revealing his eye teeth. What? Lei Yan and the others turned away, shaking their heads quietly. Look at Xiao Han's formidable presence. And then at this silly kid. Why was there such a great disparity? Never mind. Our little Mo is still young. He still has time to grow up. Nangong Lai chuckled as if he was trying to assure himself. Ran Mo. Stop calling me little Mo. Boss, your cultivation level is so high. Help us see what stage Xiao Han is at now. Lei Yan scurried over to Yi Qing's side. Divine Lord 4th Heaven Peak level. The brats all gasped. What the hell? What a beast. A teenager at the Divine Lord 4th Heaven Peak level? Was this guy a monster? We're doomed. I was still full of confidence for this inter-academy competition, but now, I feel very inferior. Lei Yan felt like he had endured a major bow. Yi Qingtang shook her head with a small smile. She was also not that optimistic about the Netherworld Academy's chances. The Netherworld Academy was a top school, but somehow, over the past few years, apart from that Grand Master Alchemist, they had not produced any truly elite practitioners. Although the standard of the Netherworld Academy students was all pretty good, the various academies had sent their best students for this competition. Faced with those exceptionally talented teenagers, Lei Yan and the others felt rather deflated. Even their strongest, Qin Feng and Ran Mo, lagged when compared to someone like Xiao Han. And who knew how many more freakishly talented youths like Xiao Han were there in the whole inter-academy competition? The Netherworld Academy's situation was not optimistic at all. Stop thinking about such pointless things. I will give you half a day to explore the city. From tomorrow onwards, you are all to stay in this building. You are not to run outside. Yi Qingtang instructed. Yes, The brats had been worried that Yi Qing would not allow them to explore the city, but he was now giving them a whole half-day to do so. They immediately perked up, and after setting down their luggage, they went out as a group. The other Netherworld Academy teenagers looked rather conflicted as they watched Lei Yan and the rest charge out of the North Hall in excitement. After coming here, they finally realized what the word elite meant. The genius freaks from the various academies had come in full force. They had been so confident while at the Netherworld Academy, but now in the North Hall, they were surrounded by Divine Lord stage practitioners. Their hearts felt very heavy. Even their own teachers were looking rather grave. But Lei Yan and the others appeared nonchalant. To think that they still had the mood to go explore the city? Yi Qing, is it really appropriate to let them out at this point in time? One of the other Netherworld Academy teachers asked. Rather than restricting them all the time, it is better to give them some freedom. Yi Qingtang had considered this matter very carefully. They could only do their best and leave the rest to fate. She had some initial plans, but was not entirely sure of them yet. Moreover, she didn't want to see her brats looking all despondent. It would be a depressing sight. Putting down her luggage, Yi Qingtang was about to take a rest when Luo Sheng knocked on her door. Yi Qing, come with me. The vice president wants to see you. Wen Qi was looking for Yi Qing because of the inter-academy competition rules. The regulations would be announced to the various academies tonight. As Yi Qing was in charge of the team competition, Wen Qi wanted him to come along to listen to the announcement. Chapter 2364. Regulations 1. Soon after, Yi Qingtang and Luo Sheng went over and found Wen Qi and the other Netherworld Academy teachers already standing at the entrance of the main hall. A middle-aged man was standing in front of them, and they looked like they were chatting. Wen Qi had a rather strange expression. Although he had a smile on his face, the smile didn't reach his eyes. Vice President. Yi Qingtang and Luo Sheng walked over. When Qi saw Yi Qing and Luo Sheng come over, the smile became more genuine. The middle-aged man followed Wen Qi's gaze. His face was cold and imperious, and when he looked at Yi Qingtang, it was with eyes full of arrogance. All of the academies participating in the inter-academy competition were among the elite few, and teachers who could teach at such academies would naturally have very high cultivation levels. Yi Qingtang was just in her teens, and although she had changed her appearance, she still looked like in her early 20s. Standing amongst the teachers, she looked exceptionally youthful. The middle-aged man's eyes swept past Yi Qingtang impassively. Wen Qi, this is a teacher from the Netherworld Academy? The middle-aged man looked at Wen Qi. Wen Qi nodded. A strange expression appeared on the man's face. He said in a low voice, "This year's inter-academy competition means a lot to the Netherworld Academy. I thought President Wu would treat it more seriously." The meaning behind the man's words was very clear. He felt that Wu Fengling should not have sent such a young teacher. Yi Qing might be young, but he is very capable. Wen Qi stated. The man didn't respond to Wen Qi's statement. Everyone has more or less arrived, so I will head in first. We will catch up again if there is time in the future. The man turned and entered the main hall first. Wen Qi couldn't resist a sigh as he watched the man depart. His name is Zhang Yunzhou, and he used to be Vice President Wen Qi's disciple. Luo Sheng told Yi Qingtang in a low voice. Yi Qingtang's eyes flashed. She was not familiar with that name, but Zhang Yunzhou had been wearing the uniform of the Cold Cloud Academy, so it seemed that he was a teacher from the Cold Cloud Academy. When Zhang Yunzhou entered the main hall, quite a number of people inside greeted him respectfully. He quickly walked over to the other teachers from the Cold Cloud Academy. You went to talk to your former master? One of the Cold Cloud Academy elders asked. He looked past Zhang Yunzhou to glance at Wen Qi impassively. Zhang Yunzhou, it has been a long time. The elder said in a mild tone. The Netherworld Academy is no longer what it used to be. For the past several inter-academy competitions, very few Netherworld Academy students managed to get a placing. In the previous competition, only one person from the medicine faculty managed to squeeze into the rankings. The Netherworld Academy is in a bad state. Zhang Yunzhou kept silent. The elder patted him on the shoulder. Your initial choice then was not wrong. If you had remained at the Netherworld Academy, it would just be a waste of your talent. If none of the Netherworld Academy students manage to get a place in this year's competition, they will be struck off the list of elite academies. In future, they would need to compete with the other normal academies first if they wish to join the Inter-Academy competition again. Like the Sky Martial Academy, the Cold Cloud Academy was an elite school and was granted instant access to the Inter-Academy competition. Meanwhile, there were many other mainlands near the Heaven mainland with countless academies located on them. Chapter 2365. Regulations 2. But not every academy was good enough to participate in the Inter-Academy competition. They had to undergo a round of qualifying competitions first, and only the top few winners would earn the right to come to Universe City and participate in the real Inter-Academy competition. In the past, the Netherworld Academy did not need to undergo the qualifying competition, but now, the Netherworld Academy was not like it used to be. According to the regulations, if they could not produce good results in this year's competition, they would lose that privilege. As the elder spoke, Wen Qi had already led Yi Qing and the others into the main hall. But their arrival did not attract the attention of the other academies. It was like no one could be bothered about them at all. This was an academy that was about to lose its privilege to automatically qualify for the Inter-Academy competitions, and so the other academies completely dismissed them. They were more focused on this year's competition regulations and their true rivals. When Qi was used to their dismissive attitudes, he led Yi Qing and the others to a corner and sat down. Yi Qing, do you know why so many academies fight so hard to qualify for the Inter-Academy competition? When Qi suddenly asked Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang shook her head. She had never enrolled in an academy in the second domain during her previous life, so it was only natural she had no idea. It's because of the God Relic, when Qi said in a low voice. Yi Qingtang's eyes glinted. God Relic. When Qi nodded. Where the Universe City is standing now, it used to be the biggest and most magnificent temple. It was constructed on this spot because a god left behind a relic here. It is similar to a mystic realm, yet also completely different. The god relic cannot usually be found. It will only open during a special period, and only a limited number of people will be allowed inside. The Universe City was where the god relic was hidden. Nearly everyone in the second domain had tried to fight over the god relic, but thereafter, they realized that it was only effective for youths who had yet to reach the age of 20. Many powerful practitioners were extremely frustrated over this. But the major family clans, academies and sects were inspired. There were 5 separate entrances to the god relic, and every entrance only allowed a certain number of entrants. To reduce the endless conflicts, the various factions had come to an agreement. Factions would be assigned to a particular entrance, and they could then fight over that allocated entrance. The entrance situated at the Universe City had been allocated to the various academies, and they fought over the right to the entrance via a very simple method. The Inter-Academy competition, where the most talented teenagers would gain the chance to enter. This was why the various academies invested so much effort just to qualify for the Inter-Academy competition. Only 100 people are allowed to enter the entrance located at the Universe City. In the past, our academy once managed to send over a dozen students into the God Relic. But Yi Qing, do you know how many students of ours managed to win the privilege in the last competition? Wen Qi asked. Yi Qingtang shook her head. A bitter look surfaced on Wen Qi's face. He lifted a single finger. Only one. Yi Qingtang couldn't resist an inward sigh after hearing this. Unless the Netherworld Academy manages to have at least 3 students win that privilege, our academy will be struck off the priority list. We will need to undergo a qualifying competition with the other normal academies first, and win them before being able to participate in the Inter-Academy competition. Wen Qi's voice was very grave. The Netherworld Academy's situation was not optimistic at all. Chapter 2366, Regulations 3, realization dawned upon Yi Qingtang. No wonder she found the atmosphere somewhat strange. The others in this hall all looked down upon the Netherworld Academy. From his position beside her, when she gradually explained the true circumstances of the Inter-Academy competition, in all honesty, he felt rather conflicted as he looked at Yi Qing. It was clear that he already admired Yi Qing when he first heard of the youth's unique understanding of martial arts. Yi Qing had only brought him even more major surprises. It was such a pity when she couldn't help giving an inward sigh. Yi Qing was still too young and had only spent a short time at the Netherworld Academy. If he could remain at the Netherworld Academy for a decade, with his understanding of martial arts and alchemy skills, he might be able to inject fresh blood into the academy. Such a pity, when she knew that Wu Fengling let Yi Qing come to the Inter-Academy competition, because he already had thoughts of giving up on this year's competition, when she himself harbored the same thoughts. Although Ran Mo and Qin Feng were pretty good, it was still not good enough to rise above the competition in Universe City. So he had allowed Yi Qing to participate this time, just to let him have a better understanding of the Inter-Academy competition, and to groom him for the future, in hopes that he could produce more talented students for the next competition. Even if they had to start all over again, at least they would have a chance. But when she would never reveal this point to anyone, he could not batter the confidence of the teachers and students right before the competition. Very soon, the elders in charge of the Inter-Academy competition arrived and explained to everyone the changes in the rules. Actually, there weren't many changes. The one-on-one competitions for martial arts and alchemy remained unchanged. They would still choose the top 10. The only change was to the team competition. For this team competition, we will have 10 participants in a group, to be led by a teacher. President Wu's information was indeed accurate. There are substantial changes to the team competition. 10 to a team, and only the top team will be chosen. TSK so sad. Luo Sheng frowned slightly. The team competition was the main event of the Inter-Academy competition. If victorious, they could win 10 spots all at once. There was no better way. However, the competition was also more intense. The various academies would definitely send out all their top elites. But in the end, only one team would win. The Cold Cloud Academy elder, who was talking to Zhang Yunzhou earlier, spoke up. Where is the location of this year's competition? In the previous Inter-Academy competition, there was also a team competition, but the top 3 teams had been chosen. In contrast, for this year, only the top team would earn a spot. Moreover, they allowed a teacher to lead the team. This was a major change. To allow a teacher to directly participate in a competition, it would definitely be no simple trial. The elder replied, "The location will be the Wailing Well." Everyone's faces changed at his words. The Wailing Well? Isn't that place surrounded by an evil aura, such that no one is able to enter? Someone asked in a puzzled tone. The elder nodded. Several months ago, the Wailing Well's evil aura was dispelled. The crowd exchanged looks, grave expressions mirrored across all their faces. Vice President, the Wailing Well you are referring to is the one situated in the evil marsh in the outskirts of Universe City? One of the teachers asked in a low voice. When she nodded. Chapter 2367, Regulations 4. The evil marsh used to be a blessed land. But after the temple was destroyed, it was gradually engulfed by the evil aura, and the Wailing Well is situated right inside the marsh. Since then, no one has been able to enter. To think that the Inter-Academy competition this year would be held in the Wailing Well, where no one had ever entered. This was a major shock to many academies. Who knew what would happen in that godforsaken place? No one has ever entered there before. Why has that location been chosen for this year's competition? Yi Qingtang's brows furrowed slightly. Logically, this kind of place was not suitable for young, inexperienced students. Just as Yi Qingtang was filled with queries, the elder continued. Everyone, please don't worry. The Wailing Well is dangerous, but we have already sent our people inside before. It is not as dangerous as you might think. Moreover, we will give every single team a teleportation talisman, which will be kept by the teacher in charge. Anytime a team meets with danger, they can choose to back out. You just need to crush the talisman, and you will be able to leave safely. But if that were to happen, the team then would lose their right to. The crowd's expressions remained grim as the elder continued his explanation. The Wailing Well was an unknown place to everyone at present. They had no idea what it was like inside, and were completely unable to prepare for anything. I wonder what the criteria are for a team to win? One of the teachers asked. The elder replied, the winner will be the team that manages to remain inside the Wailing Well for 10 days, and kills the greatest number of demons. Demons? The elder's words revealed a hint of information. Remaining for 10 days inside the well was not too big of a worry for the various academies. What they were really concerned about was what kind of demons were inside that well. In addition, everyone who enters the well is not allowed to bring any elixirs or special artifacts. Apart from the personal weapon you are carrying now, you are not allowed to bring anything else inside. The crowd was in an uproar. They could not bring anything? What about food and talismans? Someone asked. The elder shook his head. The crowd finally understood the crux of this competition. Food, water, artifacts, elixirs, they could not bring any of those things in. Apart from the weapons they already had on their bodies, as well as the teleportation talisman, they could not bring anything that could enhance their battle prowess. On top of that, they would have to stay for 10 days inside the unknown environment of the Wailing Well, and kill as many demons as they could. The unknown environment and special restrictions made this team competition especially strange and mysterious. Previously, some academies had planned to choose 10 martial arts students and give up a spot on the alchemy list. But now, they really had to bring one medicine faculty student. After all, so many things could happen in 10 days. No one could be sure what kind of dangers they would be in without any elixirs. A team had to have at least one medicine faculty student. Are there any herbs inside the Wailing Well? Someone asked anxiously. Without any herbs, there was no need to even think about refining elixirs. Of course, the elder replied. The crowd remained silent. The team competition will be held after all the other competitions, so everyone still has time to prepare. Each academy is allowed to send 5 teams. The elder continued to lay out the rules. Meanwhile, Yi Qingtang listened quietly, taking note of all possible clues. Chapter 2368. Chess 1. Meanwhile, with the permission of Yi Qing, Lei Yan and the rest had already scurried over to the streets of Universe City. Apart from Mu Ziying, who was staying in another dormitory, the entire gang was there. Even Jing Zhe and Qin Feng had been dragged along. The bunch of brats lolled around Universe City for the entire morning. Lei Yan bought so many things that his space ring was nearly bursting. At this moment, Nangong Lai and the others finally realized just how rich young Master Lei Yan was. I didn't expect the Lei Tang family to be so rich. Nangong Lai spoke ruefully as he watched Lei Yan's spendthrift ways with longing. They were both disciples from major family clans, but he had to be so much thriftier. What do you know? My father is very generous towards me as compensation. Previously, the elders in my family clan would only scoff at my weak foundation, and never allowed me to put even a single foot out the door, unless it was for training. And at the academy, there was no place to spend money. This is all part of my own savings. Lei Yan was feeling very satisfied with his shopping spree. He had held on to so much money for so long. It was so frustrating to have all that money and nowhere to spend it. Lei Yan paused. Perhaps he finally noticed the incredulous looks on the faces of his friends. He cleared his throat. Don't misunderstand, these items are not just playthings. We are going for that team competition, right? I am just preparing for that. We might have use for these items then. Everyone was surprised by Lei Yan's words. Brother, I didn't know you were so forward-looking. Hang Wenwei patted Lei Yan on the shoulder. Of course, our boss is leading the team after all. I cannot screw up. Lei Yan looked very smug. Nangong Lai threw an arm around his shoulder. I say brother, we are friends who have been through thick and thin together. Don't forget to share your goodies with me. Get lost. You don't want to buy these yourself, and am trying to leverage off me? Dream on. Lei Yin shrugged off his arm in disdain. Don't be like that. I'm broke. None of my business. Get lost. The teenagers continued messing around as they returned to the North Hall. Nangong Lai was still trying his best to weasel something out of Lei Yin, but soon enough, a group of people inside the compound attracted their attention. What are they doing? Ranemo looked at the small crowd of teenagers. Those teenagers were wearing different uniforms from the various academies, but they had all gathered together. A low murmuring could be heard. It looked rather interesting. Let's go and take a look. Lei Yin immediately piped up. They were all energetic youths, and at the age where they were filled with curiosity. The teenagers squeezed their way in. In the middle of the crowd was a massive stone table. A chessboard was placed on top of it. Two teenagers from two different academies were playing against each other. The pieces on the board looked different from the usual chess pieces, and were in the shape of various beasts. Illusion Beast Chess? Lei Yan's eyes lit up. Illusion Beast Chess was the favorite chess game of the second domain. It was rumored that it was derived from Sea Soul Chess. Few people had seen the real Sea Soul Chess, but this didn't stop people from spreading this rumor. But actually, Illusion Beast Chess and Sea Soul Chess were completely different. There were all sorts of strange strategies, and each player had a Beast King. The player who managed to take the other's Beast King would be the victor. Chapter 2369. Chess 2. When Lei Yin was confined to the Leitang family compound, his only joy was making the other family clan youths play Illusion Beast Chess with him. Soon enough, one of the players lost with a loud sigh. His face was grim as he tossed a small, intricate jade pendant over to his opponent. The winner kept the jade pendant with a smile and scanned the crowd. Who's next? No one answered. Lei Yan's heart itched. Let me try. He then sat down promptly. The crowd looked at Lei Yin, who had settled into the seat. Their eyes fell on his Netherworld Academy uniform, and a strange expression crossed their faces. The winner couldn't resist smirking when he saw Lei Yin sitting opposite him. Buddy, which academy are you from? Lei Yin was puzzled. Wasn't his uniform clear enough? I am from the Netherworld Academy. What's the matter? The winner chuckled. He leaned back a little. You want to play? That's right. Lei Yin answered. The winner looked at Lei Yin with amusement. Sorry, I am afraid you can't. Lei Yin was taken aback. The person continued. We have rules regarding our Illusion Beast chess games. If you wish to play, you need to offer the appropriate stakes. Lei Yin listened. Stakes. He immediately took out all his new purchases from his space ring. Which item do you want? Choose yourself. Lei Yin spoke magnanimously, but the teenagers from the other academies sniggered at his words. They sounded like they were laughing at a fool. The person sitting opposite Lei Yin also laughed. These lousy items of yours are not fit to use as stakes in this game. With that, he drew out the jade pendant he had won and waved it in front of Lei Yin. Do you know what this is? Lei Yin was unfamiliar with the pendant, but Ranmo's face shifted. He uncharacteristically charged forward and pulled Lei Yin to his feet. Let's go. The person couldn't resist smiling as he watched Lei Yin being dragged off by Ranemo crossing his arms over his chest. He leaned back slightly and lifted his chin as he gazed at Lei Yin and the others. Your friend is right. It's better that you leave. There are some stakes which are too high for your Netherworld Academy. Playing chess in Universe City is not something people like you can afford. The person's words were extremely harsh. The faces of Qin Feng and the others darkened. Rules were rules. If Lei Yin didn't know of them, he could have just explained. But this person was full of scorn and ridicule. It was clear that he was trampling upon the reputation of the Netherworld Academy. Ranemo, who was dragging Lei Yin away, suddenly halted as he heard those insulting comments. For the first time, a sliver of displeasure flashed across that babyish face. Spinning around suddenly, he turned and took out something from his space ring. In front of the scornful eyes of the crowd, he slapped the item into the stone table. It was a small jade pendant, exactly the same as what the winner had. Little Momo, you also have this item? Lei Yin didn't expect Ranemo to also have this jade pendant. The person narrowed his eyes at Ranmo's jade pendant. He sized up this exceptionally harmless-looking teenager. You are Wu Fengling's disciple. Chapter 2370 Chess 3. Yes, Ranmo replied. The person gave a sudden laugh. He picked up Ranmo's jade pendant and examined it casually. TSK. I knew it. Who else in the Netherworld Academy can get something like this? So you are Wu Fengling's famed disciple. No wonder. After all, President Wu would only give something like this to his own disciple. Lei Yan and the others realized that this jade pendant was no ordinary item. Little Momo, what is this jade pendant? Lei Yan asked. Ranmo didn't answer his question, but only stared back at the arrogant guy. We have the appropriate stakes now. Are we playing? Of course. As long as you can bear to lose it, I welcome you. The person smiled with a shrug. Ranmo dragged Lei Yan over to the table. Lei Yan felt rather panicked. What is that jade pendant? Little Momo, I don't want to play anymore. It was just a spur of the moment. Let's not play. Lei Yan didn't manage to finish his sentence. Ranmo interrupted him with a serious look on his face. You need to play. Lei Yan was stunned. What was going on? Ranmo, forget it. Qin Feng's brows were furrowed slightly. He had no idea what that jade pendant was, but it must definitely be very important. And Wu Fengling himself had given it to Ranmo. Observing the situation, the person tossed Ranmo back his pendant with a smirk. Yes, I think we should just forget it. The Netherworld Academy probably only has one of these, so you'd better keep a hold on it properly. After all, you guys are different from the rest of us. This item must be extremely rare and precious to you. You guys cannot afford to lose it. Seeing that the situation was not quite right, Qin Feng instinctively wanted to lead Ranmo away. But Ranmo spoke coldly to the person, his face more stern than ever before. Cannot afford it? I insist on playing today. With that, Ranmo sat down himself. Lei Yan and the others exchanged looks. But they also understood Ranmo. This person was openly degrading the Netherworld Academy. Ranmo was being stubborn only because he was trying to protect the dignity of the Netherworld Academy. As Wu Fengling's disciple, the Academy's reputation was naturally more important to him than to anyone else. The crowd observed Ranmo's insistence. They all started to relish the fact that they were about to enjoy a good show. Ranmo knew how to play illusion beast chess. Wu Fengling himself had personally taught him. Let's begin, said Ranmo. A smile played at the corners of the person's lips. He also took out a jade pendant and placed it on the table. With that, the chess match officially began. Lei Yan and the others watched on nervously. But Lei Yan's eyes suddenly brightened after Ranmo made his move. Little Momo's illusion beast chess is pretty good. Lei Yan always believed that his illusion beast chess skills were rather good. But after watching Ranmo's moves, he realized that Ranmo's chess skills were far beyond his. His anxiety lessened. Ranmo's moves were cautious while his opponent was playing willfully. But a major change soon occurred on the chessboard. After just a few rounds, Ranmo's chess pieces dwindled until he was only left with his beast king, standing all alone on the board, surrounded by his opponent's pieces, which were eyeing it hungrily. Ranmo took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He had lost. After winning, the person picked up Ranmo's jade pendant and casually played with it. Thanks. Ranmo stood up without a word as Lei Yan and the others hurried forward. The person chuckled. You guys probably still don't know what this thing is, right? Chapter 2371. Let me play. 1. The other student paused before continuing. This is called Spirit Jade. It is the license to enter the God Relic. The various academies compete in every inter-academy competition, just for the right to enter the God Relic. If I remember correctly, the Netherworld Academy only won one placement in the previous inter-academy competition. What a pity that this placement is now in my hands. The opening of the God Relic was fixed at a certain time, and only a predetermined number of people could enter. But a person could only remain inside the God Relic for one day before being required to leave. Meanwhile, the god relic would remain open for several days. The more jade pendants they had, the more chances they would get to re-enter the god relic in train. Universe City's Illusion Beast Chess was a betting arena for students who had the jade pendant. The stakes were the number of times one could enter the god relic. Lei Yan and the others were completely stunned. They knew this jade pendant was no ordinary item, but didn't expect it to be that precious. They all turned to look at Ranimo. Ranimo didn't look defeated or distressed at all. His face was utterly calm. "Let's go." Ranimo suddenly smiled. The hearts of Lei Yan and the others twisted the moment they saw those little eye teeth of his. This is all my fault. Little Mou. Lei Yan just wanted to slap himself. If not for his curiosity, they wouldn't have incurred so much trouble. Ranimo didn't blame Lei Yan at all. The various academies all looked down on the Netherworld Academy. He had done what he did to protect the reputation of the Netherworld Academy. While they may have fallen in the rankings, they must still uphold their dignity. Ranimo was prepared to leave. Lei Yan gritted his teeth and looked at the smug winner. "Apart from the jade pendant, do you accept any other stakes? You can have anything you want. I will play against you." Ranimo was taken aback. Qin Feng and the others also spoke up. "Elixirs, artifacts. Anything we have in our possession, you can ask for it." Amusement glinted in the eyes of the person as he observed the gang. "No problem. I can give you guys a chance. As long as you can offer up enough items." It was already dark when Yi Qingtang and Wen Qi returned to the North Hall. Wen Qi and the others returned to their rooms, while Yi Qingtang decided to check on her brats. Scanning the place, she could not see any one of them apart from Mu Ziying. Yi Qingtang felt a slight headache coming along. She allowed them to go out and relax a bit. But weren't he pushing it? Exasperated, she went looking for Lei Yan and the others with Mu Ziying in tow. "Hey, did you hear? Something exciting is going on in the back," a teenager told his companion in an excited voice as he walked past Yi Qingtang. "Are you talking about those fools from the Netherworld Academy? I saw it. Those fools have no idea what they are in for. To think that they even dare to play chess against Xing Rong. Who doesn't know that Xing Rong is renowned for his illusion beast chess skills? He has never been defeated before. But they dared to challenge him. What else can they do? They already lost their spirit jade. They are just trying to win back the Netherworld Academy's only spirit jade. I think they must have already lost nearly every elixir and artifact on them." Yi Qingtang had not taken the teenager's words to heart at first, but she suddenly paused after hearing the words, Netherworld Academy, and Spirit Jade. Chapter 2372. Let me play, too. On their way back, when she had told her about the Spirit Jade, and how the Netherworld Academy only won one in the previous competition. The winner had been a medicine faculty student, and the Spirit Jade was placed in Wu Fengling's care. Not long after, the medicine faculty student died in an accident, and the jade was passed on to the Netherworld Academy student with the most potential, Ranimo, the Netherworld Academy, and the Spirit Jade. It had to be Ranimo. After overhearing those teenagers, Yi Qingtang instantly felt that something very bad must have happened. Wasting no time, she immediately hurried over with Mu Ziying. In the backyard, Lei Yan and the rest were looking extremely grim. After several rounds, Lei Yan's space ring was completely empty. Nangong Lai, Hang Wenwei and the others had also lost everything. "My friends, I am truly very happy today. You guys have given me so many presents. How can I ever thank you?" Xing Rong was grinning victoriously as he gazed at the wretched faces of those few. "Now, you don't have anything more to bet on, right? You would probably have to stake your lives now if you continue betting." Lei Yan and the others were trembling with rage, but they were helpless. Their skills were really not up to par. Not only did they fail to win the Spirit Jade back, but they had also lost everything. "Since you don't have any more resources, shouldn't you get lost?" Xing Rong's face changed as he commanded coldly, "Who said we have nothing left? Didn't you mention staking our lives? I will bet with you using my life." Lei Yan was consumed with anger. "Forget it. Your life is worthless to me. Do you have anything left? If you do, I will continue playing with you." If not, please don't stand there taking up space. Get lost, Xingrong said. You. Lei Yan's face was grim to the extreme. Xingrong's illusion beast chess was just too good. They were no match for him at all. Can I play? A familiar voice drifted over. The voice was like a clear spring, instantly soothing the fretful hearts of those brats. Lei Yan and the others immediately turned to see Yi Qing with Mu Ziying beside him. When had he appeared behind them? Boss! Lei Yan was nearly crying now. Xingrong and the crowd of teenagers also shifted their gaze, only to see a mediocre-looking, skinny, frail youth in his 20s. But he was wearing the Netherworld Academy uniform for teachers. A Netherworld Academy teacher? This is getting interesting. Xingrong did not think much of Yi Qingtang. The Netherworld Academy had fallen. There was no difference between their students and their teachers. What this teacher wishes to play. Xingrong smiled. Yi Qingtang didn't waste any words but just sat down. Boss, don't play with him. This fellow's illusion beast chess is really very formidable. Lei Yan and the others were panicking. Earlier, they had lost so badly that they had lost their cool and thrown all reason out the window. Having been so utterly defeated, how could they drag Yi Qing down into the mud with them? Yi Qingtang shot them a steady look to calm down before turning back to Xingrong. What are the rules? It's very simple. We only play for spirit jades. Your side has already lost the only spirit jade owned by the Netherworld Academy, but I'm an easygoing guy. As long as you can offer me something interesting, I guess I can bend the rules for you. Xingrong spoke magnanimously, but his attitude was dripping with arrogance. Chapter 2373. Let me play 3. It was clear that Xingrong had never imagined himself losing. No matter what the other party bet on, he would win. Boss! Nangong Lai was feeling very anxious. He was deeply worried that Yi Qing would take out some precious treasure and lose it to Xingrong. They would just be widening their losses then. In response, Yi Qingtang silently took out an elixir bottle from her space ring and placed it on the table. Xingrong smirked at the bottle. Teacher, your students have already given me plenty of elixirs. I don't think that this 9 Melody Spirit Elixir, Yi Qingtang stated. Everyone at present was stunned. What did you say? The smile on Xingrong's face was fading. There is 1 9 Melody Spirit Elixir inside. Premium quality. If you don't believe me, you can get anyone you want to verify it. Yi Qingtang's face was calm. 9 Melody Spirit Elixir? Premium quality? The crowd gasped. The 9 Melody Spirit Elixir was a Grand Master level elixir. They had never even seen this type of elixir before. The various factions would fight tooth and nail over a single pill. But now, this person said this bottle contained a 9 Melody Spirit Elixir. Was he joking? A genuine Grand Master level elixir could be thrown around like common dirt? Teacher, are you joking? Xingrong suddenly felt that this Netherworld Academy teacher might be an insane person. I said that you can get anyone you want to verify it, Yi Qingtang repeated. Seeing Yi Qingtang so confident, Xingrong couldn't help recalling that the Netherworld Academy had once produced that Grand Master Alchemist. So it was not that far-fetched for the Netherworld Academy to have Grand Master level elixirs. But just in case, Xingrong immediately summoned a few medicine faculty students from his academy over. After their examination, they verified that the bottle did contain a 9 Melody Spirit Elixir, and a premium quality one at that. Xingrong's blood surged. He had been happy enough just toying with those Netherworld Academy fools and winning some inconsequential items. He never expected to snag such a wonderful prize. The 9 Melody Spirit Elixir was a truly priceless treasure. All right, I will accept this bet. Worried that Yi Qingtang might have second thoughts, Xingrong immediately accepted. The Netherworld Academy students were foolish, and their teacher was even more so. A Grand Master level elixir of this grade. They could have just used it to directly exchange for a spirit jade. Xingrong was secretly smug. He instinctively glanced up to enjoy the desperate expressions on Lei Yan and his gang. But Xingrong was shocked by what he saw. Their anxious faces relaxed after seeing Yi Qing take out that 9 Melody Spirit Elixir. Were those guys right in the head? Didn't they know how valuable this Grand Master level elixir was? How could they possibly not know? But I was nearly scared to death. I was so worried about what boss was going to bet on. Luckily, it's just some elixir. Lei Yin heaved a sigh of relief as he patted his chest. Yinchen also relaxed. Luckily, just an elixir. Xingrong. What a bunch of idiots. Just an elixir? This was a Grand Master level elixir. Those guys had mush for brains. Xingrong felt that all Netherworld Academy people were truly not right in the head. He didn't know that if Yi Qing had taken out any other item, the hearts of Lei Yin and the others would ache dearly for him. But elixirs. If there was one thing in the world which their boss had in abundance, it was elixirs. Grand Master level elixirs? They ate them like candy. Were they very rare? Chapter 2374. Toying with someone 1. Yi Qingtang felt her head ache a little as she looked at her foolish brats. She shifted her gaze and looked at Xingrong. And what are you offering? Xingrong snapped out of his trance and put on a calm act. Your students played 5 rounds with me, and these are all the items they have lost to me. I will bet with the items they lost to me during the last round. Yi Qingtang nodded. Can we start now? Xingrong nodded. He was very eager to win the 9 Melody Spirit Elixir. Without further ado, the game of chess started. The teenagers from the various academies had heard about the 9 Melody Spirit Elixir, and the surrounding crowd of spectators grew. Everyone was waiting eagerly for a good show. Xingrong wanted that 9 Melody Spirit Elixir, but he was in no hurry to immediately defeat Yi Qingtang. This teacher was able to offer a precious item, like the 9 Melody Spirit Elixir. He might have other valuable treasures. Xingrong purposely slowed down the intensity of his attacks, trying to pretend that his skills were nearly on par with him, before delivering the final fatal blow. This was to make him believe that he had lost by just one move, and instigate him to play again. Everything was going according to Xingrong's plan. He predicted Yi Qing's every move, and gave the impression of just managing to avoid being defeated, while secretly controlling the entire match. Many spectators already saw through Xingrong's intentions, and couldn't help but give an inward sigh. This teacher was falling into his trap. The chess match progressed, and the number of pieces on the board dwindled. Apart from their beast kings, both parties only had a couple of pieces left. Xingrong saw that the moment had come, and was prepared to make his killer move. But just as Xingrong was confidently preparing his attack to end this game, Yi Qingtang's next move was to take his beast king. Xingrong was in a daze as he watched his beast king get swept off the board. The barely concealed amusement in his eyes was completely dispelled in an instant. What the hell happened? How did he lose? He had already calculated all of Yi Qingtang's moves. How did he make a mistake? Every single one of Yi Qingtang's moves was accurately logged in Xingrong's brain. There was nothing exceptional there. How did the ending differ so greatly from what he predicted? The spectators were all stunned. They had watched so many of Xingrong's matches, and this was the first time he had lost. And from what they had observed, Yi Qingtang had clearly fallen into Xingrong's trap. I won. Yi Qingtang's tone was mild. Xingrong's face darkened. He must have miscalculated somewhere. Yi Qingtang had beaten him by one move. He must have been too careless. These are the items which I have lost. Teacher, please take them. Xingrong composed himself and put on a nonchalant face. Yi Qingtang lifted her chin slightly, signaling for Lei Yin to gather up the items. Xingrong narrowed his eyes. The 9 Melody Spirit Elixir was still there before his eyes. He would never let go of this chance. Moreover, he had just been careless earlier. He would not give the foolish teacher another chance. Teacher, I still have quite a number of the items which your disciples lost. Do you plan to win them all back? Xingrong smiled. Of course, Yi Qingtang said indifferently. A hint of a smile flashed across Xingrong's eyes. Let us continue then. Yi Qingtang nodded. The chess match started again. The surrounding teenagers were engrossed. Xingrong was a high-level illusion beast chess player. But this Netherworld Academy teacher was no pushover. It was a close battle, and the spectators watched with excitement coursing through their veins. Chapter 2375. Toying with someone too. But somehow, every time there were only a few pieces left on the board, Xingrong would suddenly make a misstep and end up being swept clean by Yi Qingtang. She won by a thread every single time, but Xingrong was gradually sinking into a loser's rut. In just a short period of time, Xingrong had lost 5 consecutive rounds. Not only did he fail to win the 9 Melody Spirit Elixir, but he had also lost all the items previously won. After placing the newly won Spirit Jade back in Ranmo's hands, Yi Qingtang prepared to leave. But Xingrong, whose eyes were bloodshot with defeat, suddenly stood up. "Please wait." Yi Qingtang paused. Xingrong put on a calm smile. "Teacher, you have only just won back all the items lost by your students. The real match starts now. I wonder if you are interested to continue?" Yi Qingtang's expression was mild. She looked completely indifferent to Xingrong's proposal. "I have no interest in your items." Xingrong took a deep breath. "I have 2 Spirit Jades. I want to play one final match against you. If I win, I want the 9 Melody Spirit Elixir. If I lose, I will give you these 2 Spirit Jades." Yi Qingtang pondered over it before reluctantly sitting down. "Sure." Xingrong took a deep breath. With that final round, he had already thoroughly analyzed Yi Qingtang's chess play. Yi Qingtang would lose this match for sure. 1 9 Melody Spirit Elixir might be able to exchange for 1 Spirit Jade. But 2 Spirit Jades would be a major loss for him. Xingrong was confident that he had already seen through all of Yi Qingtang's moves. He would not lose again. Yi Qingtang's chess play was very convoluted, and one could be easily tricked if not careful. But now, he had already seen through it all. He would not lose again. Xingrong was full of confidence. He was prepared to defeat Yi Qingtang in a single move. But this time, the moment the match started, Xingrong fell into major despair. It wasn't the same. In fact, it was completely different. Yi Qingtang's chess play had totally changed. His previous gameplay was full of genial twists and turns. But now, his every move was like a ferocious beast who had just risen from its slumber. Every step was filled with intense aggression. In the blink of an eye, Xingrong's chess pieces were all swept off the board. Meanwhile, every single one of Yi Qingtang's chess pieces was still standing. Seeing his Beast King surrounded, realization suddenly dawned upon Xingrong. To kill someone, you must target his goals and intentions. It was clear that this teacher had just been baiting him in the first 5 rounds. Those were not his true chess skills. Xingrong thought very highly of his chess abilities. He had made use of his own baiting technique to toy with countless opponents. They thought the disparity in skill was not that great, but it was in fact thousands of miles wide. Today, he had planned to use the same technique against Yi Qingtang, but he never expected. He was the one who ended up being played by Yi Qingtang. Even more terrifying was the fact that he had only realized the truth at this final moment. Xingrong's arrogance and confidence in Illusion Beast chess had now been utterly destroyed. His face was pale, and he looked like a sad, defeated rooster. Sitting deflated in his chair, he was left staring forlornly at his defeat. When his Beast King was swept off the board, Xingrong's hands started trembling uncontrollably. He stared on blankly as Yi Qingtang took his 2 Spirit Jades. Meanwhile, he had not even managed to even lay a finger on the 9 Melody Spirit Elixir. Chapter 2376. Desperate from his losses, 1. The spectators were all silent now. No one expected such a shocking and unexpected outcome. To think that Xingrong had lost 5 consecutive rounds. In reality, the spectators had already seen through Yi Qingtang's baiting technique right from the start. But Xingrong had been too focused on the game to realize it at all. It was a universal truth that a bystander could always see the overall situation more clearly than a party within the situation. "Boss, why is your Illusion Beast chess so formidable?" Lei Yin was gazing adoringly at Yi Qing. Does one know the meaning of formidable? This was exactly what formidable looked like. Their boss was skilled at martial arts, elixir refinement, and even chess play. Apart from bearing children, there was probably nothing in this world their boss couldn't do. Lei Yin was full of pep and enthusiasm now. He no longer bore the wretched manner of someone who lost consecutive rounds. Qin Feng and the others were also full of smiles. This youth who looked weaker than most of them was like a pillar of strength. No matter where and when, nothing could shake him. Yi Qingtang glanced at Lei Yan. She couldn't help feeling speechless. This kid was able to recover from a defeat so easily. There were no hidden motives or intentions. It was a good thing, she mused. Yi Qingtang had learned illusion beast chess in the second domain during her previous life, but she had come into contact with this game under different circumstances from Lei Yan and the others. Yi Qingtang did not learn illusion beast chess in the usual manner of family clans, academies, or sections. She had learned it in the kind of shady place where all sorts of dubious characters mixed and mingled. Betting on chess matches was quite common in the second domain. In Universe City, the stakes were spirit jades. In the places where Yi Qingtang played, the stakes were your life. Chess skills trained from games where the stakes were life and death were naturally not something which these spoilt brats could match up to. Boss, you truly have unfathomable depths. If I had known your illusion beast chess was so good, I would have begged you to teach me a couple of moves. I might have been able to defeat that little punk then, Lei Yan exclaimed excitedly. He had always loved chess, and now that he knew of Yi Qing's chess standards, he naturally wanted to learn from him. Boss, what other kinds of chess do you know? Teach us. Yi Qingtang looked at the naive Lei Yan. At the mention of chess, she couldn't help thinking of that day in the Temple of Paragon, when she played that game of Sea Soul chess with the Sea King. After that incident, Yi Qingtang really didn't wish to see any chess pieces at all. Although she had won by a stroke of luck, the tremendous stress when facing off the Sea King was still fresh in her mind. She would be able to leave in peace after this group of brats got through the inter-academy competition. Just as Yi Qingtang, Lei Yan and the rest were preparing to leave, a glum-faced Xingrong suddenly stood up and violently flipped over the chessboard on the stone table. Stay right where you are. Xingrong's eyes were malevolent as he thundered out in a cold voice. Lei Yan and his group paused. They frowned when they saw Xingrong's dark expression. What? Is someone a sore loser? Nangong Lai sneered. Xingrong had been so arrogant when he was winning. As many rounds as the rest of them had lost, they had never gone back on their bets. The vein on Xingrong's forehead was popping out. His eyes were filled with venom as he glared at Yi Qingtang, a Netherworld Academy teacher, leading her students to flout the rules of Universe City. Do you think you can leave just like that? Lei Yan and his gang were completely stunned by Xingrong's accusation. Xingrong, what other tricks do you have up your sleeves? Who flouted the rules? Nangong Lai furrowed his brows. Chapter 2377. Desperate from his losses, too. Xingrong quietly took a deep breath. His face was very dark and malevolent. The thought of losing had never crossed his mind. All he knew now was that he could not afford to lose his spirit jades. How could he let those Netherworld Academy folks take away his spirit jades? Xingrong composed himself and put up a calm front. What? Don't you know the rules of the Inter-Academy competition? Lei Yan and the others frowned. This was their first time here, and had no idea of the rules. Xingrong narrowed his eyes before smiling. Inside Universe City, chess gambling is tolerated between students, but academy teachers, wardens and other such personnel are not allowed to participate. If I tell those in charge of the Inter-Academy competition about this teacher participating in chess gambling, he will probably be kicked out of Universe City. Xingrong was speaking the truth. The various academies turned a blind eye toward those chess matches between students with spirit jades. After all, everyone wished their own students would win more spirit jades. But apart from students, no one else was allowed to participate. However, rules were rigid, while people were flexible. In reality, quite a number of teachers also took part in chess gambling in Universe City. As long as both parties came to an agreement, everyone would turn a blind eye. No one would be foolish enough to report a match which both parties agreed to. But now, Xingrong was going to be the first person to tattle. The spectators realized that Xingrong must be desperate from his losses. Those teenagers who used to respect Xingrong now started to look at him with disdain. It was clear that Xingrong had agreed to the match. Now that he had lost so terribly, he was suddenly going back on his word. But as disgusted as the crowd was, no one wanted to get involved in this messy situation. Xingrong, you are purposely trying to stir up trouble, right? Why didn't you say so earlier if you knew of this rule? Hang Wenwei retorted with a frown. He couldn't stand this anymore. Xingrong was clearly a sore loser. After seeing Yi Qingtang take out the Grand Master level elixir, he had immediately assented. But now that he had lost, he was dragging out rules to hinder them. Xingrong knew how the crowd was looking at him now, but he did not care anymore. He sneered. Rules are rules. If you don't wish to have your teacher kicked out of Universe City and miss out on the competition, hand over my 2 spirit jades. I can see that you are very close to him. I guess that he is the teacher who will lead your team in the team competition? If he is kicked out of Universe City at this crucial point, I am afraid your team will lose even more terribly than anticipated. Yi Qingtang's eyes flashed after hearing Xingrong's words, but her face remained impassive. Xingrong, you are so shameless. Lei Yin was enraged. Even a fool could see that Xingrong was just being a sore loser and purposely trying to stir trouble. Just as Lei Yan and the others were getting ready to fight it out with Xingrong, a low voice rang out in a chiding tone. Xingrong, shut up. Xingrong stiffened at that voice. His blustering arrogance was instantly dispelled. Lifting his head, he looked toward the source of the voice. A middle-aged man and a handsome youth weaved their way through the crowd. Teacher. Xingrong was petrified by the sight of the middle-aged man. Chapter 2378. Desperate from his losses, 3. Respect and fear also flashed across the eyes of the crowd when they saw the middle-aged man. That is, Heaven Dome Academy's teacher Jin Qianyang? I heard news that he had come this time, but I didn't expect that the rumors were true. Hasn't Jin Qianyang been in seclusion for a long time? How did Heaven Dome Academy manage to invite him over? Heaven Dome Academy must be going all out for this year's Inter-Academy competition. Who is that beside him? That is Yin Kongluo, a powerful freak who nearly killed Sky Martial Academy's Xiao Yihan previously. He is Jin Qianyang's direct disciple. Whoa! He was able to defeat someone like Xiao Yihan? What kind of freak is that? The crowd was quietly shocked. In the blink of an eye, Jin Qianyang was already standing before Xingrong. Xingrong stood trembling before Jin Qianyang. He exuded fear from every pore of his skin, completely unable to utter a single sound. His lips were pale and turning purple. What happened? Jin Qianyang asked impassively. He was a strapping man, towering half a head over Xingrong, who was already quite tall himself. Teacher. It's them, Xingrong stammered. Faced with Jin Qianyang's dominant aura, he was scared to death and could barely speak. He no longer had the mind to spin any lies, but just narrated the entire incident. But because of his anxiety, his narration was rather convoluted and confusing. Observing the scene before her, Yi Qingtang found it rather strange. Jin Qianyang was a teacher from Heaven Dome Academy, and therefore Xingrong was likely his student. But Yi Qingtang had never seen a student who was that fearful of his own teacher. This was not like the usual relationship between a student and teacher. Xingrong stammered for a long while before finally finishing his narration. He did not even dare to glance at Jin Qianyang, and his hands were trembling uncontrollably. This kind of fear which originated from the core was impossible to conceal. You were the one who borrowed Kongluo's spirit jade? Jin Qianyang's voice was even, but Xingrong nearly fell to his knees in fright when he heard the question. Teacher. It was an accident. I was in the wrong. I shouldn't have borrowed senior brother Ian's spirit jade. Please forgive me. Realization dawned on everyone at Xingrong's words. Xingrong's spirit jade didn't even belong to him. He had borrowed it from Yin Kongluo. No wonder Xingrong had behaved so desperately after losing it. He was willing to shed aside his dignity to force Yi Qingtang to return it to him. Teacher, it's the Netherworld Academy teacher who flouted the rules. They should return the spirit jade. Xingrong was well aware of Yin Kongluo's status. He did not dare to assume the responsibility of losing the spirit jade. He immediately pointed the finger at Yi Qingtang, hoping to divert Jin Qianyang's attention from himself. But before Xingrong could finish his accusation, he was sent flying across the air, as if he had been hit by a massive force, his body finally coming to a stop after crashing into a wall. Jin Qianyang watched Xingrong with a cold eye before suddenly speaking to Yin Kongluo. Kongluo. Yin Kongluo immediately knew what Jin Qianyang was asking. He replied, "Master, one spirit jade is nothing to me. Moreover, the inter-academy competition will be starting soon. By then we will naturally get more spirit jades. Others need that spirit jade more than me." Chapter 2379. To compete or not to compete, 1. A slight nod showed that Jin Qianyang was very satisfied with his disciple's answer. Lei Yin looked at Jin Qianyang and Yin Kongluo, who had no intention of supporting Xingrong. Jin Qianyang had even beat up Xingrong. He immediately had a good impression of this master-disciple pair. I was still worried that Jin Qianyang would help Xingrong. I didn't expect that he would be so fair. He's not a bad chap after all. Lei Yin looked at the rest, expecting them to concur. But he realized that the eyes of his companions had turned sharper and harsher. What was going on? It must be blissful to be so naive. Nangong Lai couldn't help sighing at Lei Yan's foolishness. What do you mean by that? Aren't I right? He's conceding that Xingrong lost, right? Lei Yan was confused. When did you hear them admit to losing? Nangong Lai gave a cold laugh. Lei Yan frowned slightly. While Yin Kongluo's words were quite polite, unless you were a fool, no one could fail to hear the true meaning behind his words. Yin Kongluo said that he didn't care for one piece of spirit jade. He was confident of winning more at the inter-academy competition. On the other hand, spirit jade was extremely precious to the Netherworld Academy, and they desperately needed every single one they could get. Was this conceding defeat? This was the scornful condescension displayed by a powerful practitioner to a weaker party. He was hinting that the Netherworld Academy could only get spirit jades from under-the-table methods like chess gambling. The Netherworld Academy would never be able to get a single spirit jade in the inter-academy competition. Qin Feng and the rest heard the ridicule in those words. Lei Yan was the only one foolish enough not to detect it. He even thought they were good guys. Qin Feng and his group were fuming but couldn't say anything. As Yi Qing was present, they had to leave it up to him to settle. Right from the start, Jin Qianyang had not even spared a single glance at the Netherworld Academy folks. It was like they were completely invisible. Although Yi Qingtang knew what Qin Feng and the others were thinking, she would not do it. Without another word, Yi Qingtang led Lei Yan and the others away. Qin Feng and his group were taken aback by her actions. They felt that this was not at all like Yi Qing, but still they followed him. After Yi Qing and his team left, Jin Qianyang also led Yin Kongluo away. Before Yin Kongluo left, he instructed several Heaven Dome Academy students to carry the unconscious Xingrong back. He then caught up with Jin Qianyang. Xingrong's chess skills are pretty good. His defeat today was just an accident. Master, please don't be too harsh. There's no harm done to let someone else win just this once. Yin Kongluo smiled. Jin Qianyang glanced at Yin Kongluo. Chess gambling is not the right way to go about things. Practitioners should fight it out with their real skills, and not make use of these side channels. Yin Kongluo said respectfully, Master is right. The Netherworld Academy has already fallen, and even their teacher has to personally participate in chess matches to win spirit jades. I am afraid they themselves are aware that it would be difficult for them to get any in the inter-academy competition. I can still afford to give them that one spirit jade. Jin Qianyang was very pleased with Yin Kongluo's confidence. As Jin Qianyang said, chess gambling was a shady practice, and was not something true powerful practitioners should take part in. To think that the Netherworld Academy had now fallen so far that they had to rely on such nefarious methods to get spirit jades. They were worlds apart from the Heaven Dome Academy. There are significant changes to the team competition this year. I am very confident in your martial arts abilities, But you must put much effort into this team competition. Since we are going to win, we must make it a spectacular win. Yes. Chapter 2380. To compete or not to compete. 2. Meanwhile, Yi Qingtang had led her brats back to their accommodation. They should have been basking in the glow of victory, but the brats all had rather strange expressions. They did not appear the least bit happy, but looked rather grave and troubled. Yi Qingtang sat on the chair and surveyed the gloomy faces. She felt a slight headache coming. Why are you not satisfied after winning 2 spirit jades? The brats didn't dare to speak. Gong Jinyan was the only one who spoke up after some hesitation. Teacher Yi, the Heaven Dome Academy's ridicule is too insulting. We don't need those spirit jades. Yi Qingtang understood those kids now. In that case, we should throw those 2 spirit jades back at the Heaven Dome Academy. The brats snapped out of their gloom. Boss, you're right. You should just fling those spirit jades right in their faces. The Heaven Dome Academy thinks they are so good that they can look down on the Netherworld Academy. They talked as if we had no choice but to beg for their indulgence. Nangong Lai was feeling very aggrieved. Very logical. I will fling them as hard as possible. Yi Qingtang nodded as if she agreed. The teenagers all hurriedly nodded in unison. This was the boss they knew, but Yi Qingtang's face suddenly darkened. You guys have eaten so well over the years and managed to grow big and strong, but failed to develop any brains. The brats were stunned by Yi Qing's abrupt reprimand. Boss, Lei Yin was befuddled. Why did boss suddenly scold them? Fling the spirit jades back at them? Just for the sake of venting your anger? You are all too spoiled. Yi Qingtang was so exasperated that she didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why were the various academies fighting so hard? It was all for those limited spirit jades, right? Yi Qingtang had never entered the God Relic, but she could tell how wondrous that place must be just by how highly regarded it was by the various academies. If Yi Qingtang was still in her early teens, she might have really just destroyed the spirit jade in an impulsive fit of rage, right in front of Yin Kongluo. But she was not. The 2 spirit jades could let the Netherworld Academy send 2 more students into the God Relic. It could help the Netherworld Academy groom 2 more talented students. If the Netherworld Academy was as powerful as the Heaven Dome Academy and Sky Martial Academy, Yi Qingtang might have done it just to vent her anger. But the Netherworld Academy was not. These spirit jades did not only belong to Yi Qingtang, they also belonged to the Netherworld Academy. Wu Fengling allowed Yi Qingtang to join the Netherworld Academy. How could she bear to let him down and betray his trust? Yi Qingtang had already shed that immature way of thinking. She no longer let impulsive emotions control her actions. Do you think that after throwing away the spirit jade, we will be able to regain our dignity? Without true power, no one will ever hold you in any regard. To regain the Netherworld Academy's reputation, you need to fight for it on the competition grounds. Yi Qingtang spoke in a chilly voice. The brats felt like they had been knocked in the head by Yi Qing. Boss! Jingzhe spoke up in a timid voice. Yi Qing just continued to stare at them coldly, and Jingzhe immediately shut up. Get out! If you want people to look up to you, you need to show real power, Yi Qingtang said. Having been thoroughly lectured, the brats wanted to say something, but kept silent from fear and awe of Yi Qing's fierce manner. Boss usually treated them with kindness, and behaved like a brother to them. He seldom gave them a black face, and so they were helpless at his sudden sternness, and had no choice but to obediently leave. Chapter 2381. To compete or not to compete 3. Yi Qingtang suddenly spoke up again. You guys spent the whole afternoon with that kid from the Heaven Dome Academy? Momentarily taken aback, they paused for a moment before nodding in unison. Did he go anywhere during that period? The teenagers shook their heads. Xing Rong played chess with us the entire time. He didn't leave for even a minute. Realization dawned upon Yi Qingtang. I see. The brats had no idea why Yi Qing suddenly asked such a question, but under the current circumstances, They didn't dare to ask any questions. So they obediently returned to their accommodations to reflect on their behavior. Yi Qingtang's stern expression faded as she watched their departing profiles. A bunch of troublemaking brats. She had to leave after the Inter-Academy competition, so she didn't have much time left to teach them. It was time for them to grow up. Not only did they have to improve their powers, but they also had to develop their minds and characters. Otherwise, it would be difficult for them to achieve great things. Yi Qingtang sighed again, before recalling something which Xing Rong casually mentioned. Bringing along those 2 spirit jades, she went looking for Wenqi. Vice President, were the details about the Inter-Academy competition rule changes known even before today? Yi Qingtang asked directly. Wenqi couldn't help being taken aback by her question. He shook his head. No, the information is highly classified. We only knew that there would be some changes, but had no idea about the details at all. Why did you ask about that? Yi Qingtang frowned slightly as Wenqi's words affirmed her suspicions. Anxious from his defeat, Xing Rong inadvertently disclosed something. It seemed that Xing Rong had known that a teacher would lead this year's team competitions. But at that time, Yi Qingtang and the others had just returned from the briefing where the details were first announced. Xing Rong had been with Lei Yan and the rest the entire time, and did not have any interaction with the Heaven Dome Academy teachers. So how did he know of this information? Unless, the only possibility was that he already knew of the details of the changes from before. Although Yi Qingtang had initially suspected it, Wenqi's words only confirmed her conjecture. So Yi Qingtang immediately told Wenqi about Xing Rong and handed the 2 spirit jades to him. You are saying that the Heaven Dome Academy student already knew of the details of the rule change? Wenqi had no time to rejoice at the 2 new spirit jades. His face was grave. Yi Qingtang nodded. Wenqi's face darkened even further. If that was true, then there was something off about the entire situation. Wu Fengling's connections were not inferior to any of the other academies. Even so, he only managed to learn that there would be changes to rules, and not the details. But now, even a student from the Heaven Dome Academy knew of the details beforehand. Yi Qing, I will have someone investigate this matter. If the Heaven Dome Academy is the only one who had the early information, or that our Netherworld Academy is the only one who didn't know the details beforehand, Wenqi started. If it was the former, things might not be that bad. If it was the latter, Wenqi could not ascertain the truth behind this matter for now. But it was not the most pressing issue at large. Yi Qing, let me handle this matter. On a related topic, I plan to wait till tomorrow to discuss something with you all. But it looks like the sooner the better. Go and gather the other teachers. We need to quickly decide on how to deal with this year's Inter-Academy competition. Chapter 2382, Making a Choice. 1. Soon after, the Netherworld Academy teachers had all gathered. Since knowing of the rule changes, they had been deliberating over it non-stop. This year's Inter-Academy competition is very important to our academy. Does anyone have any thoughts? When she asked, the teachers all looked grave. No matter how one looked at it, the Netherworld Academy had no advantage at all for this year's Inter-Academy competition. Due to the storms, the mainland where the Netherworld Academy was situated was isolated from the other mainlands. Even if the family clans from the other mainlands had wanted to enroll their youths in the Netherworld Academy, they would give up in the end due to the relentless storms. Moreover, their mainland was somewhat different from the other mainlands. The sects flourished on their mainland. Due to the presence of the Temple of Paragon and the deep pockets of the family clans, they would choose to send their top talents to the stricter sects instead. This resulted in a dwindling number of elite youths enrolled in the Netherworld Academy. This situation had only worsened over time, contributing to the gradual decline of the Netherworld Academy. Vice President, apart from the team competition, there are not many changes to the other segments. Although we are not supposed to speak of some things, for fear of tarnishing our reputation, I must still speak up. Just looking at the martial arts segment, our Netherworld Academy has no advantage at all. One of the teachers spoke up in exasperation. There was a significant disparity between the top students from the Netherworld Academy and those from the other academies. For alchemy, Song Yanhan and Yun Chun might be able to win placements. But even if they successfully enter the top 10, we still need one more. Luo Sheng looked grim. As the Netherworld Academy had Elder Zhu, their medicine faculty was still coping well. And Yi Qing had produced Yun Chun, who had become another potential candidate. But the Netherworld Academy needed at least 3 spirit jades to be able to retain their permanent spot in the Inter-Academy competition. In your opinion, what are the chances of Qin Feng and Ran Mo winning in the competition? When she asked, the teachers exchanged looks. For a moment there, no one spoke. This silence was a good indication of what they were thinking on the inside. Although Ran Mo was very gifted, he was still too young. If he could continue training for a few more years, he would be able to stand out in the martial arts segment. As for Qin Feng, he should have been the best candidate, but due to his decline over the past few years, his progress had been delayed by quite a bit. If he hadn't met Yi Qing, Qin Feng might have just completely disappeared from everyone's radar. These two were very talented, but one was too young while the other's progress had been delayed. Even with their current powers, they were still quite some distance behind the top students from the other academies. The group all felt that it was such a pity. If only they had another year to prepare for the Inter-Academy competition. Their Netherworld Academy would not end up in such a dismal state then. Only the top 10 would be selected in the martial arts segment, and both Qin Feng and Ran Mo were from the martial arts faculty. From what the teachers observed, all the other academies had over 20 Divine Lord 3rd Heaven level students. The Netherworld Academy had no chance of winning. When Qi was well aware of their situation, he had already mentally prepared for this, but faced with the truth now, he still couldn't help feeling depressed. All the while Yi Qingtang silently observed the scene. She more or less had a clear idea of the Netherworld Academy's circumstances now. Chapter 2383, Making a Choice 2. Yi Qing, do you have any thoughts about this? When Qi looked towards Yi Qing, he and Wu Fengling planned to groom Yi Qing to become an important teacher in the Netherworld Academy in the future. Yi Qingtang pondered for some time before replying. Since there is a certain disparity between their powers, there is no need to waste any time worrying about that. Instead, I believe that we have a chance in the team competition. All the teachers were stunned, even when Qi looked surprised at Yi Qingtang's words. Team competition? Teacher Yi, I am afraid we have no advantage in the team competition either. The individual powers of our martial arts students cannot compare to the other academies. Compounding the disparity by 10 times, the gap would only become wider. One of the teachers felt that Yi Qing was oversimplifying things. If the team competition was just a series of sparring matches, the gap would definitely become wider. But this year's team competition is different. Yi Qingtang explained. For this year's team competition, we need to kill the most number of demons within a period of time. We are not fighting against the other teams. Despite the reasoning, the other teachers still believed that Yi Qing was being too naive. Even if we are competing on the number of demons killed, the moment we enter the Wailing Well, the various teams will definitely resort to all sorts of nefarious methods in order to win. By then, it will not just be a simple matter of killing demons. The other academies will try their best to eliminate the competition while killing the demons. Don't forget that there are no rules stating that teams cannot fight each other. One of the teachers raised this point. With the current power level of the Netherworld Academy students, they would definitely lose if they had to fight the top teams of the other academies. I feel that it is still better to let Qin Feng and Ran Mo have a go. As long as one of them is able to enter the top 10, we should be okay, another teacher suggested. He was really not that optimistic about the team competition. Even in the past, the team competition had always been Netherworld Academy's weakest segment. After all, the Netherworld Academy had never won a single team competition before. The chances of Ran Mo and Qin Feng winning are close to zero, Yi Qingtang said suddenly. The faces of the teachers instantly darkened. Although Yi Qing was speaking the truth, wasn't it still too direct of him to say that? Ignoring those disapproving eyes, Yi Qingtang looked towards Wen Qi. If we make Qin Feng and Ran Mo compete in the martial arts sparring matches, not only are their chances near zero, the team competition would follow right after. By then, they would be drained after their sparring matches and not be as effective in the team competition. Yi Qingtang had her own plans. She had never been one to walk the usual pathways. In her previous life, she had experienced all sorts of dangerous situations, and she also knew that the Netherworld Academy teachers wanted to play it safe. But now that things had come to this, she could not allow them to insist on their conservative ways. Instead of placing our hopes on something, which we already know that we have little chance of winning, why don't we take a risk on the team competition? Yi Qingtang persuaded. The Wailing Well was an unfamiliar place to all the academies, so everyone would be starting from the same point. In addition, Yi Qingtang would be personally leading the team. They might have a chance there. When she was deep in thought, Teacher Yi is asking us to actively give up on all the other segments apart from the team competition. Chapter 2384. Making a Choice 3. Since we know we are going to lose, why don't we conserve our energy? Yi Qingtang asked. Conserve energy? Teacher Yi has never participated in an inter-academy competition before. Do you know that if the Netherworld Academy actively forfeits the preceding segments, the amount of criticism we would have to endure? So you are saying that the Netherworld Academy is not being criticized now? Yi Qingtang asked in a mild tone. The teachers all stiffened. From the moment the Netherworld Academy started to decline, the criticisms never ceased. I will consider this matter carefully. Everyone please return first and think through it too. If anyone has any ideas, please let me know. Wen Qi spoke up. After imparting some other instructions, he allowed them to leave. Yi Qing, wait a moment. Wen Qi suddenly asked for Yi Qing to stay. The other teachers all looked surprised. Yi Qing had created quite a stir in the Netherworld Academy earlier, and they all acknowledged his powers. But he was still too young. The other teachers did not believe that Yi Qing was good enough to assume this responsibility. After everyone else departed, only Wen Qi and Yi Qing were left in the room. Vice President, do you have more instructions for me? Yi Qingtang asked. Wen Qi kept silent for a moment as he gazed at Yi Qing. He then spoke slowly. If you lead the team inside the Wailing Well for the team competition, what are your chances of winning? Yi Qingtang replied frankly, 30%. 30% was not that great of a number, but this was the highest percentage that Yi Qingtang could offer. After all, no one had ever really entered the Wailing Well before. But Wen Qi gave a sudden laugh. 30%. That's enough. With that, Wen Qi looked at Yi Qing. In reality, President Wu and I have already predicted the outcome of this inter-academy competition, and we do not have any high hopes for this year's competition. We just want to make use of this one last chance to let our students gain more experience. Their chances of winning in the martial arts segment were as good as zero, but Yi Qing was able to offer a 30% chance at winning the team competition. Wen Qi could see that although Yi Qing was young, he was very level-headed and capable when it came to handling things. His calm, competent manner was unlike that of a youth only in his 20s. Since you already have a plan, we will go along with your arrangements. I will settle everything else. Wen Qi gave his permission. Yi Qingtang was taken aback. Was Wen Qi agreeing just like that? You don't need to bother about the plans of the other teachers. The Netherworld Academy can spare a team to fight for a chance. But we cannot have everyone else give up on the martial arts segment. Wen Qi looked at Yi Qing with a grave expression. For some competitions, even though we know we will lose, we have no choice but to meet them. Yi Qingtang understood Wen Qi's meaning. There's something else. Wen Qi suddenly piped up. Vice President, please speak freely. Wen Qi continued. Your elixir refinement skills are good enough. This year's team competition is full of unknown factors, and to be safe, There is no need to have another medicine faculty student on the team. When she was referring to Yin Chen, the team needed to have someone who knew alchemy, but since Yi Qingtang was already very good at elixir refinement, there was no need to bring along a helpless medicine faculty student who might end up being a burden. Yi Qingtang looked at Wen Qi, vice president. Wen Qi thought that Yi Qing would be reluctant to leave out Yin Chen. Yin Chen is a good kid, and he will be able to prove himself in the alchemy competition, so there is no need for you to risk his life in the team competition. In response, Yi Qingtang only said simply, Yin Chen is at the Divine Lord stage. Wen Qi. Chapter 2385 in Door 1. Yin Chen is at the Divine Lord stage? Wen Qi felt that he must have misheard. Before the Netherworld Academy selection trials, Yi Qingtang had 6 students under her, and Yin Chen was the only one from the medicine faculty. Under her guidance, the other 5 had broken through to the Divine Lord stage within a short period of time. They had become the hottest topic in the Netherworld Academy. Meanwhile, Yin Chen's significant improvement in elixir refinement had also garnered much attention. As for the level of his martial art, no one paid much notice to that. As Wen Qi looked at her doubtfully, Yi Qingtang gave a steady nod of her head. Wen Qi. With Yin Chen's martial arts level, it should not be a problem for him to come with us into the Wailing Well. Before Yi Qingtang could finish her sentence, Wen Qi waved. Let me think for a minute. Yi Qingtang. Think about what? Wen Qi carefully considered Yi Qing's words. After confirming he had not misunderstood, he looked at her with a conflicted expression. Do you mean that Yin Chen is already at the Divine Lord level now? Yi Qingtang nodded. When did he break through to that stage? When she asked again, Yi Qingtang replied. Probably around the same time as Lei Yan and the others. When she gasped. Yin Chen was part of the martial arts faculty when he first joined the Netherworld Academy. He only switched to the medicine faculty due to his physical issues. But, was Yi Qing telling him now that Yin Chen was already at the Divine Lord stage? And that he had broken through at around the same time as Lei Yan and the rest? Wen Qi's expression grew increasingly complicated. That's to say all 6 of the students under you have already ascended to the Divine Lord level? Yi Qingtang nodded. Wen Qi felt rather flustered. All 6 had been handed over to Yi Qing at the same time, and every single one of them had a different problem. But somehow Yi Qing was able to bring all these 6 teenagers onto the Divine Lord level? Impossible. Wen Qi had been in teaching for several decades, but this was the first time he had encountered such a formidable teacher. Even Wu Fengling did not produce this level of success. What kind of wonderful freak of nature was this Yi Qing? Alright, arrange things according to your plans. Wen Qi could no longer object. He was even thinking that he might have been too conservative in only giving Yi Qing 6 students then. If he had given him more, wouldn't they have more Divine Lord level students now? Alright, Yi Qingtang replied. Wen Qi sighed. He looked at Yi Qing with gratitude. Yi Qing, you are even more exemplary than I imagined. But I must remind you of one point. Vice President, please go ahead. Wen Qi continued. I am permitting you to carry out your plan, but you must be mentally prepared. Ran Mo and Qin Feng are the 2 most talented martial students in our academy. They are under you now, and according to your arrangements, they cannot participate in the individual martial arts competition. Apart from them, our other martial arts students have no chance at all of squeezing into the top 10. We will suffer a terrible defeat during that competition. Wen Qi had his own worries. After suffering that massive defeat, the entire Netherworld Academy would be full of dismay. And Yi Qing, who was the one who didn't allow Rand Mo and Qin Feng to participate, would definitely bear the brunt of that outrage. Chapter 2386. In Door 2, Wen Qi could permit Yi Qing's plan, but he would not be able to change the opinions of others. He was worried that Yi Qing would have to endure intense criticism following the decision. Some of the veteran Netherworld Academy teachers had been unconvinced of a teacher as young as Yi Qing. With Di Nua's departure, Even more teachers believed that Yi Qing was too impulsive. When Qi was worried that after the individual martial arts competition, Yi Qing would have to endure unprecedented pressure. "I don't mind," Yi Qingtang replied. When Qi looked at Yi Qing with relief. After speaking a few more words with him, he allowed the youth to leave. The next morning, students from the various academies set off for the competition arena. Today, they would draw lots to see who their opponents would be. The exciting sparring competitions would officially begin today. Lei Yan and the others woke early and dressed themselves up neat and proper. They then stood in a row outside Yi Qing's room, waiting for their boss to lead them to the arena. But after waiting for some time, Yi Qing still hadn't opened her door. "Did boss oversleep?" Lei Yan murmured. Today was a big day. Why did their boss choose to oversleep today? "Don't tell me we really angered boss that badly yesterday?" Nangong Lai asked sheepishly. The teenagers exchanged looks. They saw that nearly all of the students in North Hall had already left. But they couldn't decide whether they should knock on her door. In the end, Qin Feng looked at Mu Ziying. "Little senior sister, we have to trouble you again." Qin Feng spoke earnestly. Mu Ziying. The brats knew very well that Yi Qing would never lose his temper at Mu Ziying. Their little senior sister was their lucky charm. They had never seen boss being fierce to her. Once again being forced by the others, Mu Ziying went forward to knock on the door in resignation. "Boss, are you awake?" Mu Ziying called out. Not long after Mu Ziying called out, the door was finally opened. Yi Qing had a coat hastily draped across his shoulders, his long black hair casually pulled back in a loose ponytail. He did not look like someone who was prepared to head out at all. "Boss, wake up. We won't be able to make it if we don't go now," Nangong Lai urged. "Go where?" Yi Qingtang was still groggy. "The drawing of lots for the sparring matches." Yi Qingtang yawned. "You guys don't need to draw lots. Go back." "What?" The teenagers were all stunned. "No need to draw lots." What was boss saying? "But, Teacher Yi, what do you mean? Do you mean we don't need to be there personally for the drawing of the lots?" The usually shy Qiu Nen asked in a timid manner. Yi Qingtang looked at their confused faces. "I mean that you guys don't need to participate in the individual martial arts competition." Yi Qing's words were like a bolt of lightning striking their heads. "Boss, we know we were in the wrong. We are immature and ignorant. We are foolish and stupid. Please have mercy and give us a chance. We have already reflected on ourselves the entire night. Please don't be so angry anymore." Lei Yan was the first to snap out of his trance. He threw himself at Yi Qing's feet with a cry, clutching onto Yi Qing's thigh as he wailed pitifully. Their boss was so enraged by their behavior yesterday. Boss wanted to give up, and didn't even want to let them participate in the inter-academy competition anymore. Chapter 2387. Endure 3, Yi Qingtang. Pulling the wailing Lei Yan off herself, she looked at him in disdain. At the same time, Qin Feng and others also looked at Yi Qing with eyes filled with dismay. They never expected Yi Qing to be so angry as to do something like this. What could they do now? Yi Qingtang felt a headache coming on. "You guys don't need to participate in the individual martial arts competition. What you need to do now is to prepare yourselves for the team competition." "Team competition?" Lei Yan immediately stopped his wailing. He looked at Yi Qing in confusion. "You guys don't have much chance of winning the martial arts segment, so the vice president and I have arranged for our team to focus all our efforts on the team competition. Do you understand now?" Yi Qingtang was really scared of Lei Yan's piercing cries. The teenagers heaved a sigh of relief at Yi Qing's words. "Boss, so none of us will be participating in the individual martial arts competition?" Jingzhe asked cautiously. Yi Qingtang nodded. Yunshan asked, "What about me?" "All competitors in the alchemy competition compete at the same time. You just head over when the time comes." Yi Qingtang did not intend for Yin Chun to give up his alchemy competition. After all, the alchemy competition would not damage his physical well-being. Jingzhe and the others had no objection to Yi Qing's arrangements. They would do whatever their boss said. All was fine as long as boss wasn't angry. The reactions of Hang Wenwei, and the others were more complicated. They had been under Yi Qing for a shorter period of time, and were still unsure of his temper. Although they found his arrangements somewhat unusual, they were now all under her lead. Anyway, when she had assented to this, so there was nothing left to object. Moreover, Yi Qing was right. After seeing the other students in the North Hall, they knew that their powers were not on par. Their chances of winning in a one-on-one sparring match were practically abysmal. Apart from Ran Mo and Qin Feng, there was no way the others would even come near the top 10. Meanwhile, the drawing of the lots for the Inter-Academy competition kicked off with a bang. Some of the teenagers were thrilled with their lot, some were dismayed. For the next few days, the Inter-Academy competition progressed at a red-hot pace. Countless sparring matches were carried out one after the other. Adrenaline and glory bloomed in every battle. In the first few days, the Netherworld Academy's inferior situation was not yet noticeable. The Netherworld Academy teachers and students didn't bother themselves about it then. But as the competition progressed, the Netherworld Academy's inferior position became increasingly clearer. More and more Netherworld Academy students could be seen nursing injuries and recovering from their defeats in the North Hall. In just a few days, the entire Netherworld Academy was nearly utterly defeated. Only a few managed to cling on to the latter stages of the sparring competition. Things were not looking good at all. At first, the Netherworld Academy teachers didn't discover any anomalies. But after observing the matches over the past few days, they realized none of Yi Qing's students had participated in the sparring matches. Even Ran Mo and Qin Feng never showed their faces a single time. Vice President, we need an account of what is happening. Several teachers sought out Wen Qi in anger. Even when Wen Qi explained that Yi Qing and his team were focusing on the team competition, it was to no avail. Without Ran Mo and Qin Feng, it would just be a couple of days more before all of the Netherworld Academy students would be eliminated from the martial arts competition. We will be the laughingstock of the entire Inter-Academy competition. Chapter 2388. Endure 4. A student who had just undergone a battle stood behind the teachers, his body covered in multiple injuries. These students had used their own flesh and blood to defend the Netherworld Academy's reputation. Meanwhile, Yi Qing and his team were hiding at the back. Even though he had the two most important students in the Netherworld Academy, he refused to let them participate. How could the students and teachers, who had sacrificed so much for the honor of the Netherworld Academy, endure this situation? We can't say anything about Qin Feng not participating. After all, he was brought to his current level by Yi Qing. But what about Ran Mo, Hang Wenwei and the others? What right does Yi Qing have to prevent them from participating? This is also my decision. If you have a problem with it, I will bear the consequences. Wen Qi sighed. Vice President, we know you are protecting Yi Qing, but this Inter-Academy competition concerns the future of our Netherworld Academy. As much as you want to protect him, there should be a limit to it. Wen Qi looked very helpless. After all, he already predicted this situation. At this time, Yi Qingtang had just arrived at the doorway. Before she stepped in, she could already hear the teacher's angry demands. Just as she was prepared to enter, Luo Sheng suddenly hurried over to stop her. Luo Sheng shook his head at Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang knew Luo Sheng had good intentions. She was just about to say something when a familiar voice rang out from the room. Xiaonan, speak for yourself. Vice President, I also wish to participate in the sparring matches. Xiaonan's voice rang out from the room. Previously, when Yi Qingtang informed them that they were not going to participate in the sparring matches, Xiaonan already felt rather uncomfortable. Then his former teacher had sought him out and told him that he couldn't forsake the Academy's honor just to save his own skin. Even if he knew he would lose, he should not be afraid of battle. As a result, Xiaonan had followed his teacher to meet Wen Qi today. But even if Xiaonan wanted to participate now, it was already too late. Having missed the drawing of the lots on the first day, no one would be allowed to join in midway. Argumentative voices continued inside the room, and Luo Sheng didn't let Yi Qingtang enter. The two of them just remained standing outside. After a long time, the door was opened. Angry-faced teachers barged out. Seeing Yi Qing standing outside, the anger on their faces intensified. Meanwhile, Xiaonan couldn't help ducking out of sight when he saw Yi Qing. Yi Qing, from today onwards, you are not to interfere with Xiaonan anymore. He is my student. You don't need to worry about him in the future. Xiaonan's teacher snapped furiously before leading Xiaonan away. The other teachers and students also glared at Yi Qing with displeasure. Without another word, they all stormed off. When she was inside the room looking very grim, seeing Yi Qing and Luo Sheng outside, he composed himself and said, Yi Qing, the individual martial arts competition will end in a few days. Following that will be the alchemy competition, so have Yin Chun prepare. Even now when Qi's attitude was genial and gentle, and he behaved like nothing had happened. But Yi Qingtang had also heard of the consecutive defeats suffered by the Netherworld Academy over the past few days. Combined with what she overheard just now, Yi Qingtang could imagine just how much pressure when Qi was under now. Yes, Yi Qingtang nodded before she departed without another word. After that day, Xiaonan no longer appeared with Hang Wenwei and the others. He had returned to his teacher's side. Lei Yan and his group realized this, but no one made any further comments. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.